The Enchanted Orchard. Once upon a time, in a quaint kingdom nestled between emerald hills and sparkling rivers, there was a mystical orchard known as the Enchanted Orchard. This orchard was renowned for its magical fruits, which were said to have the power to grant one wish to someone with a pure heart and noble intentions. However, the orchard was hidden deep within an ancient forest and could only be found by those who truly needed its magic. In a small, humble village at the edge of the forest lived a young girl named Lila. Lila was known for her kindness and selflessness. She spent her days helping her family and neighbors, tending to the village's gardens, and caring for the sick. Despite her generosity, Lila and her village were suffering from a terrible blight that had ruined their crops and left them in dire need of food. One day, as Lila was tending the village garden, she overheard a group of travelers talking about the Enchanted Orchard. They spoke of its magical fruits and the wonders it could bring. Determined to help her village, Lila decided she would venture into the forest to find the orchard and use its magic to save her home. The journey begins early the next morning. Lila packed a small satchel with bread, a flask of water, and a warm cloak. She set off into the ancient forest, guided only by the whispers of the wind and the stories she had heard. The forest was dense and mysterious, with towering trees and winding paths. As she journeyed deeper into the forest, Lila encountered a wise old owl perched on a gnarled tree branch. The owl looked at her with piercing eyes and said, "To find the Enchanted Orchard, you must first solve my riddle. I have branches but no fruit, no trunk but plenty of leaves. What am I?" Lila pondered for a moment and then answered, "A book." The owl hooted in approval and flapped its wings, revealing a hidden path illuminated by a soft, silver glow. Lila followed the path, her heart filled with hope. The mysterious glade. The path led Lila to a serene glade where the trees were adorned with glowing fireflies. In the center of the glade was a gently bubbling spring, and beside it stood a graceful deer. The deer spoke softly. "To continue, you must solve this riddle. What has cities, but no houses, mountains, but no trees, and water, but no fish?" Lila thought carefully and then answered, "A map." The deer nodded and stepped aside, revealing a shimmering bridge that spanned across the spring. Lila crossed the bridge and continued her journey. The Enchanted Orchard. The bridge led Lila to a hidden grove bathed in golden light. In the center of the grove stood the Enchanted Orchard, its trees laden with glowing fruits of every color imaginable. The air was filled with a sweet, intoxicating fragrance. Lila approached the orchard and saw a large, ancient tree in the middle, with a single, magnificent fruit hanging from its branches. The tree spoke in a deep, melodic voice, "To receive the magic of the Enchanted Orchard, you must make a wish with a heart full of love and selflessness. What you wish for should benefit others." Lila took a deep breath and made her wish, "I wish for my village to be blessed with abundant crops and to have enough food for everyone, so that no one has to go hungry." As she spoke, the magnificent fruit began to glow even brighter, and a gentle breeze carried its magic back to Lila's village. The light spread across the forest, flowing into the fields and gardens of her home. The return to the village. When Lila returned to her village, she was greeted with astonished joy. The once barren fields were now lush and green, the crops were thriving, and there was plenty of food for everyone. The village celebrated with a grand feast, and the people were filled with gratitude for Lila's bravery and kindness. The magic of the Enchanted Orchard had transformed the village, bringing prosperity and happiness to all. Lila was honored as a hero, and her story became a cherished legend, passed down through generations as a reminder of the power of selflessness and the magic that lies within a kind heart. And so, Lila's village continued to thrive, forever blessed by the magic of the Enchanted Orchard and the loving heart of one extraordinary young girl. Once upon a time, in a hidden corner of the world, there lay a kingdom known as Luminera. Luminera was famous for its breathtaking gardens and its ethereal moonlit nights. However, the kingdom's most precious secret was a flower called the moonflower, which bloomed only once every 100 years under the light of the full moon. Legend had it that the moonflower could grant a single wish to anyone who found it, but finding it was no easy task. In the village of Willowbrook, nestled at the edge of Luminera's enchanted forest, lived a kind-hearted girl named Eloan. Eloan loved the stories of the moonflower, and she dreamed of finding it to help her village, which had been suffering from a long drought. One evening, as the full moon began to rise in the sky, Eloan decided to embark on a quest to find the elusive moonflower. She packed a small satchel with provisions and set off into the forest, guided by the shimmering light of the moon. The forest was alive with the sounds of nocturnal creatures, and the moonlight cast a silvery glow on the trees. Eloan followed a winding path that seemed to be illuminated by a gentle, otherworldly light. She came across a wise old owl perched on a branch. "Good evening, wise owl," Eloan greeted. "Can you help me find the moonflower?" The owl, whose feathers sparkled like stardust, looked at her with keen eyes. "The moonflower is not easily found, for it hides in a place where light meets shadow and dreams intertwine with reality. You must follow your heart and trust in the guidance of the moon." Eloan thanked the owl and continued her journey. As she walked, she noticed that the moonlight seemed to form patterns on the forest floor, leading her to a hidden glade. In the center of the glade stood a large, ancient tree with branches that seemed to reach out to the sky. Under the tree, Eloan found a stone pedestal with intricate carvings of stars and moons. Atop the pedestal was a small, delicate box. Inside the box was a silver key and a note that read, "To find the moonflower. Seek the grove where dreams are born. Follow the melody of the moon and the whispers of the night." Eloan looked around and noticed a faint, melodic tune carried by the breeze. She followed the music to a nearby grove, where the trees glowed softly in the moonlight. In the heart of the grove, a crystal-clear pond reflected the light of the full moon. By the edge of the pond, Eloan saw a shimmering path of moonlight leading to a hidden entrance beneath the roots of a great tree. She used the silver key to unlock the entrance, revealing a staircase that descended into the depths of the earth. With determination, Eloan climbed down the staircase, which led her to an underground cavern bathed in a soft, mystical glow. In the center of the cavern was a pedestal with a single, radiant moonflower in full bloom. Its petals glowed with an iridescent light, and the air around it seemed to hum with magic. Eloan approached the moonflower with awe. She gently picked it, knowing that she had to make her wish. She closed her eyes and wished for rain to fall upon her drought-stricken village, hoping that it would bring life back to the land and restore hope to her people. As soon as Eloan made her wish, the moonflower's petals began to sparkle and emit a brilliant light. The light grew brighter and brighter until it enveloped the cavern. When the light faded, Eloan found herself back at the edge of the forest, the moonflower safely in her hands. She hurried back to Willowbrook, where she was greeted by a sky filled with dark, rain-laden clouds. As she arrived, the first drops of rain began to fall. The villagers watched in amazement as the rain nourished the parched earth, and the once dry river began to flow again. Eloan's wish had come true, and the village thrived once more. The story of the moonflower and Eloan's bravery became a cherished legend, reminding everyone of the magic that lies in selfless wishes and the power of hope. And so, Luminara remained a kingdom of wonder and prosperity, forever touched by the light of the moonflower and the courage of a young girl who followed her heart. The end. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between rolling hills, there lived a young girl named Elara. Elara loved to paint more than anything in the world. She would spend hours each day drawing pictures of the things she saw around her, the bright flowers in the fields, the tall trees in the forest, and the sparkling stream that ran through the village. But Elara was poor, and all she had was a few pieces of old paper and a worn-out paintbrush. One day, as Elara was walking through the forest, she stumbled upon a small, hidden glade she had never seen before. In the middle of the glade was a large, ancient tree with a thick trunk and branches that stretched up to the sky. Curious, Elara walked closer and noticed something glinting in the sunlight near the roots of the tree. It was a beautiful, golden paintbrush. Elara picked up the paintbrush, marveling at its smooth handle and fine bristles. It felt warm in her hand, almost as if it were alive. Without thinking, she dipped it into the small jar of paint she always carried with her and began to paint on a rock near the tree. To her amazement, the moment the paintbrush touched the rock, the picture she painted came to life. She had drawn a bird, and as soon as she finished, The bird hopped off the rock and flew away into the sky, chirping happily. Elara could hardly believe her eyes. She looked at the golden paintbrush in wonder. "This must be a magical paintbrush," she whispered to herself. Excitedly, Elara ran back to the village, her mind racing with possibilities. She began to paint pictures of all the things her village needed: fresh fruit in the orchards, new clothes for the children, and sturdy houses for the families. And as soon as she finished each painting, the objects sprang to life, exactly as she had imagined them. The villagers were overjoyed. "Elara has a magic touch," they exclaimed. "She can create anything with her paintbrush." Word of Elara's magical paintbrush spread quickly, and soon people from other villages began to visit her, asking for her help. Elara was happy to paint for them, creating all kinds of wonderful things to make their lives better. She painted flowing rivers in dry lands, lush gardens in barren fields, and warm blankets for the coldest nights. The people were grateful, and Elara's village became a place of abundance and happiness. But as Elara continued to use the paintbrush, something strange began to happen. Each time she painted, she felt a little more tired, and her paintings became harder to bring to life. The magic of the paintbrush was fading. One evening, as Elara was resting under the same ancient tree where she had found the paintbrush, she heard a soft voice. "Elara, my dear, you have used the paintbrush well, but its magic is not infinite." Startled, Elara looked around and saw the ancient tree glowing softly. "Who's there?" she asked. "I am the spirit of the forest," the voice replied. The paintbrush was a gift from the forest to help those in need. But magic must be used wisely. If it is used too often, it will lose its power. Elara felt a pang of sadness. "But I only wanted to help," she said. "And you have," the spirit of the forest said kindly. "But remember, true magic comes from within, not from a brush or paint. The greatest gifts are those that come from the heart: kindness, love, and the willingness to share with others." Elara nodded, understanding now what the spirit meant. She had used the paintbrush to create many wonderful things, but the real magic was in the way it had brought people together and made them happy. The next morning, Elara decided to use the paintbrush one last time. She painted a beautiful garden in the center of the village, with flowers of every color and trees that would bear fruit for years to come. As she finished the painting, she felt the last of the paintbrush's magic flow out, and it transformed into a simple wooden brush, just like the one she had started with. The villagers gathered around the new garden, marveling at its beauty. "This is Elara's greatest gift," they said. "A place where we can all come together and enjoy the beauty of nature." Elara smiled, knowing that even though the paintbrush was no longer magical, the village was still full of magic, because of the love and kindness they shared with one another. From that day on, Elara continued to paint with her simple brush, creating beautiful pictures that brought joy to everyone who saw them. And though the objects she painted no longer came to life, the happiness she spread was magic enough. The end. In a charming village nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling river, lived a young girl named Eira. Eira had a deep love for the stars, spending each night gazing up at the sky with wonder and dreaming of the magical places beyond. One evening, as Eira was lying on a grassy hill, she noticed something unusual: a shimmering bridge made of stardust arching across the night sky. It seemed to glow with a gentle, inviting light. Curious and excited, Eira decided to follow the stardust bridge to see where it led. As she stepped onto the bridge, it felt soft beneath her feet, like walking on clouds. The bridge sparkled with every step she took, leading her higher and higher into the sky. Eira felt a rush of excitement and wonder as she climbed higher than she had ever imagined. After what seemed like an eternity of sparkling steps, she reached the end of the bridge, arriving in a magical land called Celestia. The land was filled with floating islands, glittering rivers of light, and trees with leaves made of pure crystal. The sky was a swirling tapestry of colors, and the air was filled with the sweet sound of celestial music. Eira was greeted by a friendly guide, a wise old star sprite named Orion. With twinkling eyes and a gentle smile, Orion explained that Celestia was a realm of dreams and magic, where wishes were granted and stars were born. However, the land was in great peril. An ancient spell had been cast by the sorceress Noctara, which caused the stars to lose their light and the balance of Celestia to waver. Orion revealed that to restore the light and balance to Celestia, Hera needed to find 3 magical star crystals hidden in different corners of the realm. Each crystal had a unique power and was guarded by a challenge that required bravery, kindness, and cleverness. The first crystal, the Crystal of Courage, was hidden in the Forest of Echoes. The forest was dense and filled with echoing sounds that could disorient anyone who entered. Hera ventured into the forest, where she faced her fear of the unknown. By trusting her heart and following the echoes of her own courage, she discovered the Crystal of Courage hidden in a shimmering blade. The second crystal, the Crystal of Kindness, was located in the Lake of Reflections. The lake's surface was covered with illusions that showed the darkest fears and hopes of those who looked into it. Hera had to navigate through these illusions and show true kindness to a lost and frightened swan. By helping the swan find its way home, she received the Crystal of Kindness from the depths of the lake. The final crystal, the Crystal of Wisdom, was found in the Tower of Stars, which reached up to the highest point in Celestia. The tower was filled with ancient riddles and puzzles that tested one's wisdom. Hera used her knowledge and intuition to solve the riddles and reached the top of the tower, where she discovered the Crystal of Wisdom glowing brightly. With all 3 crystals in hand, Hera returned to Orion. Together, they placed the crystals in a celestial altar at the center of Celestia. The crystals began to radiate a brilliant light, and the stars in the sky shimmered back to life. The balance of Celestia was restored, and the realm was filled with renewed magic and harmony. Orion thanked Hera for her bravery and kindness. As a token of gratitude, he gifted her a small, silver star pendant that would allow her to visit Celestia whenever she wished. The pendant would also serve as a reminder of the adventure and the lessons learned along the way. Hera stepped back onto the Stardust Bridge, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment and joy. As she descended back to her village, the bridge gently faded away behind her, leaving only the twinkling stars above as a memory. From that day on, Hera carried the silver star pendant with her, cherishing the magical adventure she had experienced. She continued to gaze at the stars with wonder, knowing that beyond them lay a realm of dreams and magic waiting to be discovered. And so, the tale of Hera and the Stardust Bridge became a beloved story in her village, inspiring others to follow their dreams and find the magic within themselves. Once upon a time, in a kingdom nestled between rolling green hills and sparkling rivers, there was a village called Starhaven. Starhaven was known for its night skies, which were filled with countless twinkling stars. The villagers believed that their stars were special, each one granting a wish to those who believed. In the heart of Starhaven stood an ancient tower, the home of the Starkeeper, an elderly man named Eldrick. Eldrick was a wise and kind-hearted soul who spent his nights caring for the stars. He polished the stars with his magic cloth, making sure they shone brightly for all to see. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, a young girl named Lila came to the tower. She was known for her curiosity and bravery. Lila had always wondered how the stars were cared for and if the tales of their magical wishes were true. Eldrick, she called as she approached the tower, I've heard so much about the stars. Can you tell me their secret? Eldrick smiled warmly. Ah, Lila, the stars are indeed magical. But their true power lies in belief and kindness. Lila's eyes widened. Can I help you with the stars tonight? Eldrick considered this for a moment. Very well, but remember, the stars have their own way of revealing their magic. Follow my lead. They climbed the winding stairs of the tower to the very top, where Eldrick had a large telescope. Through the telescope, Lila saw the stars up close, their light shimmering like diamonds. Each star, Eldrick explained, has a tail. They watch over us, granting wishes to those with pure hearts. As Lila looked through the telescope, she noticed one star that seemed to flicker more brightly than the others. What about that star? She asked. Eldrick's eyes twinkled. That is the Wish Star. It is said to grant a special wish to anyone who can truly discover its secret. Lila was intrigued. How can I discover its secret? Eldrick handed her a small, silver key. This key can unlock a secret chamber within the tower. There, you might find what you seek. With excitement, Lila hurried to the hidden door within the tower. She unlocked it with the silver key and entered a dimly lit room. Inside, there was an old, dusty book resting on a pedestal. She opened the book, revealing pages filled with mysterious symbols and drawings. As Lila examined the book, a gentle voice spoke. "Welcome, Seeker. To unlock the Wish Star's true power, you must understand the essence of wishes." The voice belonged to an ethereal figure that appeared from the book, a guardian of the stars named Seraphina. She glowed with a soft, celestial light. To unlock the Wish Star's power, Seraphina said, you must first make a wish of your own. But remember, it must be a selfless wish, one that helps others. Lila thought long and hard. She remembered the villagers in Starhaven, who had always been kind and caring. They had helped her and her family through many challenges. She realized that her wish was not for herself, but for the well-being of her village. With a deep breath, Lila made her wish aloud. "I wish for the prosperity and happiness of Starhaven and its people." The room filled with a brilliant light, and Seraphina smiled. "You have made a wish of great virtue. The Wish Star's magic will now shine brighter, and its light will bring joy and prosperity to Starhaven." Lila returned to Eldrick with a heart full of joy. The Wish Star's secret is to wish for the good of others. Eldrick nodded approvingly. "You have learned well. The true magic of the stars lies not in their light, but in the light we bring to others." As the night continued, Lila and Eldrick watched the stars together. The Wish Star gleamed more brightly than ever, casting a warm glow over Starhaven. The village thrived with newfound hope and happiness, thanks to Lila's selfless wish. From that night on, Lila became known as the Guardian of Wishes, and she continued to spread kindness and joy throughout Starhaven. Eldrick and the stars watched over her, knowing that the magic of the stars was alive and well in the hearts of those who believed. And so, in the heart of Starhaven, where the stars always shone brightly, Lila's story was told for generations to come. It was a tale of kindness, selflessness, and the true magic of wishes, reminding everyone that sometimes, the brightest stars are those that shine from within. Once upon a time, in a cozy little village nestled between rolling hills, there lived a curious kitten named Kiki. Kiki had bright green eyes, soft gray fur, and an insatiable curiosity about the world around her. While the other kittens in the village were content to play with yarn and chase butterflies, Kiki always dreamed of discovering new and exciting places. One sunny morning, as Kiki was exploring the outskirts of the village, she stumbled upon an old, forgotten path overgrown with ivy and wildflowers. Her whiskers twitched with excitement as she sniffed the air. She had never seen this path before, and her adventurous spirit urged her to follow it. Kiki trotted down the path, her paws making soft sounds on the moss-covered ground. The further she went, the more magical the surroundings became. Birds with bright plumage sang sweet melodies, and butterflies of every color danced around her. After a while, Kiki reached a tall, ancient wooden gate covered in vines. With a gentle push of her paw, the gate creaked open, revealing a hidden garden. It was the most beautiful place Kiki had ever seen. The garden was filled with vibrant flowers, tall trees with golden leaves, and a sparkling stream that wound its way through the center. At the heart of the garden stood a magnificent fountain, its water glistening in the sunlight. As Kiki explored the garden, she noticed something unusual about the fountain. At its base was an intricate mosaic depicting a story. It showed a young girl and a kitten, just like Kiki, discovering the garden and embarking on a grand adventure. Curiosity piqued, Kiki examined the mosaic closely and found a hidden compartment. Inside was a small, ornate key. "I wonder what this opens," Kiki thought, her green eyes sparkling with anticipation. Just then, a soft voice called out, "Hello, little kitten. What brings you to our magical garden?" Kiki turned to see a graceful, shimmering fairy with delicate wings fluttering nearby. The fairy introduced herself as Lila, the guardian of the hidden garden. "Hello, Lila," Kiki replied. "I found this key near the fountain. Do you know what it opens? Lila smiled kindly. That key unlocks the door to the enchanted glade, a place filled with wonders and secrets. But the journey to the glade is not easy. You must be brave and kind-hearted to reach it. Kiki felt a mix of excitement and determination. I'm ready for the adventure, she said confidently. Lila nodded and pointed to a small, hidden door at the edge of the garden. Kiki approached the door, inserted the key, and with a soft click, it opened. Beyond the door lay a path lined with glowing flowers and twinkling lights. As Kiki ventured down the path, she encountered various magical creatures. She helped a family of fireflies find their lost child, guided a confused hedgehog back to his home, and shared her food with a hungry rabbit. With each act of kindness, the path grew brighter, and Kiki felt more confident. Finally, after what seemed like a long journey, Kiki reached the enchanted glade. It was a breathtaking sight. The glade was filled with the soft glow of bioluminescent plants, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of jasmine. In the center of the glade was a large, ancient tree with golden bark and silver leaves. At the base of the tree was a small door, much like the one in the garden. Kiki used the key one last time, and the door opened to reveal a hidden chamber filled with treasures, shimmering crystals, golden trinkets, and a book bound in velvet. Kiki carefully opened the book, and to her surprise, it told the story of her journey, the friends she had helped and the challenges she had overcome. At the end of the story, it read, "The greatest treasure of all is the kindness and courage you have shown." Just then, Lila appeared beside her. "You have done well, Kiki," she said softly. "This glade and its treasures are a reward for your bravery and kindness. You are always welcome here." Kiki's heart swelled with pride and happiness. She thanked Lila and promised to return. With the key in her paw, she made her way back to the hidden garden and through the old gate, returning to the village. The other kittens greeted her with wide eyes and eager questions about her adventure. Kiki shared her story, and from that day on, she was known as the bravest and kindest kitten in the village. Kiki continued to explore, always ready for the next adventure, and she never forgot the magical garden and the enchanted glade. She kept the key close, a reminder of the incredible journey and the friends she had made along the way. And so, Kiki the curious kitten lived happily, with a heart full of kindness and a spirit always eager for the next adventure. The end. Once upon a time, in a secluded valley surrounded by mist-covered mountains, there was a village called Breezewood. The village was renowned for its gentle winds that carried whispers of old tales and secrets from far-off lands. The villagers believed that the winds were enchanted and held the key to a hidden kingdom called Zephyra, a mystical place that was said to be ruled by the Whispering Wind, a benevolent spirit of the air. For generations, the people of Breezewood had heard stories of Zephyra's magical beauty and prosperity. However, no one had ever seen the hidden kingdom, as it was veiled by an impenetrable mist that only parted for those deemed worthy by the Whispering Wind. Among the villagers was a curious and kind-hearted girl named Leora. Leora loved listening to the stories carried by the winds and dreamt of discovering Zephyra for herself. One day, as she listened to the whispers of the breeze, she heard a message that seemed to call out directly to her, "Seek the heart of the valley where the winds converge, and you shall find the path to Zephyra." Determined to unravel the mystery, Leora decided to embark on a quest to find the hidden kingdom. She packed a small satchel with supplies, said goodbye to her family, and set out toward the heart of the valley, where the winds were said to converge. The journey was not easy. The valley was vast, and the mist made it difficult to see far ahead. Leora followed the whispers of the wind, which guided her through thick forests, across babbling brooks, and over rolling hills. Along the way, she encountered various creatures of the valley, a wise old tortoise named Tiberius, a playful fox named Pippin, and a gentle deer named Alara. Each creature offered Leora a piece of advice or a clue to help her on her journey. As Leora ventured deeper into the valley, she discovered a hidden grove surrounded by ancient, towering trees. In the center of the grove was a large stone archway covered in ivy and shimmering with a faint, magical light. The archway was adorned with intricate carvings of swirling winds and celestial patterns. Leora approached the archway and saw that it had no door, only a shimmering veil of mist that seemed to respond to her presence. She reached out and touched the veil, and it parted to reveal a winding path leading through the mist. With a deep breath, Leora stepped through the mist and found herself in Zephyra, the hidden kingdom. The kingdom was a breathtaking sight. The sky was a radiant shade of azure, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers. Floating islands with cascading waterfalls hovered in the sky, and delicate bridges of woven clouds connected them. The land below was lush and vibrant, with crystal-clear lakes and meadows full of flowers. In the heart of the kingdom stood a magnificent palace made of translucent crystal, and there, upon a throne of clouds, sat the Whispering Wind, a majestic being with flowing robes that seemed to be woven from the very fabric of the air. "Welcome, Leora," the Whispering Wind said in a voice that was both soothing and powerful. "You have shown great courage and kindness in seeking out Zephyra. I have watched your journey and am pleased with your heart." Leora bowed respectfully. "Thank you for welcoming me. I have always wanted to see Zephyra and understand the magic of the Whispering Wind." The Whispering Wind smiled gently. "Zephyra exists because of the harmony between nature and magic. The winds carry the essence of our world and connect all beings. You have demonstrated a pure heart and an understanding of this balance." With a wave of the Whispering Wind's hand, the sky above Zephyra transformed into a tapestry of shimmering constellations, each telling a story of the kingdom's history and the magic of the winds. Leora was filled with wonder as she listened to the stories carried by the breeze. Before she left, the Whispering Wind gifted Leora a small crystal vial filled with a breeze from Zephyra. "This vial will allow you to bring a touch of our magic back to Breezewood," the Whispering Wind said. "Use it wisely to remind your village of the beauty of the world and the importance of harmony." Leora returned to Breezewood with the vial and shared the magic of Zephyra with her fellow villagers. The village flourished as the winds became even more enchanting, bringing joy, prosperity, and wisdom to all who lived there. The villagers honored Leora's bravery and the Whispering Wind's gift, and the story of the Hidden Kingdom became a cherished legend. And so, Breezewood thrived in harmony, forever grateful for the magic that connected them to the wondrous world of Zephyra. The end. In the heart of a lush, ancient forest stood a towering willow tree known as the Whispering Willow. It was said that this magical tree could grant a single wish to anyone who proved their kindness and bravery. The villagers often spoke of the tree's gentle whispers that carried secrets of the forest and the promises of dreams fulfilled. One bright morning, a kind-hearted girl named Mira set out from her small village on a quest to find the Whispering Willow. Her beloved grandmother, who had always been the village storyteller, had fallen ill. Mira hoped that if she could find the legendary tree and make a wish, she could restore her grandmother's health. Mira journeyed through the dense forest, following the advice of the villagers who had described the tree's location as being near a sparkling brook and a meadow of wildflowers. As she walked, the forest seemed alive with the chatter of birds and the rustling of leaves, guiding her on her way. After hours of travel, Mira arrived at a glistening brook. She carefully followed its banks, keeping an eye out for any sign of the magical tree. The brook led her to a beautiful meadow filled with colorful flowers swaying in the breeze. At the far end of the meadow, nestled between two hills, she saw the Whispering Willow. The tree was magnificent, its branches sweeping the ground like a lush curtain. Its leaves shimmered with a silvery glow, and soft, melodious whispers drifted through the air. Mira approached the tree with a mixture of awe and hope. "Welcome, Mira," the Whispering Willow said in a voice like a gentle breeze. "I have been waiting for someone with a pure heart. What is it that you wish for?" Mira took a deep breath and spoke with sincerity. "I wish for my grandmother to be restored to health. She has been unwell for many months, and I want to see her smile again." The Whispering Willow's branches swayed as if pondering the request. A wish made with such love and selflessness is powerful. But first, you must prove your kindness and bravery by helping others along your way. The magic within me requires a heart that not only desires but also acts. The tree's words filled Mira with determination. "I will do whatever it takes." The Whispering Willow directed Mira to a small, nearby village where she would find the first challenge. Mira followed the tree's guidance and soon reached the village, which was suffering from a severe drought. The villagers were desperate, and their crops had withered under the relentless sun. Mira saw an elderly woman struggling to carry water from a distant well. Without hesitation, Mira offered to help. She carried water to the village, shared her own provisions, and worked alongside the villagers to dig a new well. Her efforts brought hope and relief to the village. The villagers thanked Mira and admired her kindness. She continued her journey, guided once more by the whispering willow's whispers, until she reached a dense part of the forest where a group of lost animals were huddled together, frightened and hungry. Mira used her wits and compassion to help the animals find their way back to their homes. She shared her food and built small shelters for those who needed them. The animals, grateful for her kindness, guided her to a hidden glade where a family of injured fairies lived. The fairies were in need of healing, and Mira gently tended to their wounds using herbs she gathered from the forest. Her nurturing care restored the fairies' strength, and they fluttered around her in thanks, offering her their magic in return. Finally, Mira made her way back to the Whispering Willow, carrying the blessings of those she had helped. She approached the tree with a heart full of fulfillment and hope. "I have done as you asked," Mira said. "I have helped those in need and acted with kindness and bravery. Please, grant my wish for my grandmother's health." The Whispering Willow's leaves shimmered brightly as it began to weave a soft, glowing light around Mira. "You have shown true kindness and bravery, Mira. Your wish shall be granted." With a gentle rustling of its branches, the Whispering Willow released a magical breeze that carried Mira's wish back to her village. When Mira returned home, she found her grandmother smiling and full of life, as if a miracle had occurred. The villagers rejoiced at the sight of the restored grandmother, and Mira's tale of bravery and kindness became a cherished story in the village. The Whispering Willow continued to stand tall in the forest, its whispers a reminder that true magic comes from the heart. And so, Mira's selfless journey in the kindness she showed to others brought light and healing not just to her grandmother but to everyone she met along the way. The end. Once upon a time, in the kingdom of Eldoria, there lived a kind and adventurous girl named Avellini. She resided in a quaint village at the edge of the enchanted forest, a mysterious place filled with magical creatures and ancient secrets. The villagers often told tales of the forest's wonders and dangers, but Avellini's curiosity always drew her to its borders. Avellini lived with her father, a skilled carpenter, and her younger brother, Leo. Their mother had passed away when Leo was just a baby, leaving Avellini to take on the role of caretaker for her family. Despite the hardships, Avellini remained optimistic and full of life. One autumn evening, as the golden leaves fell from the trees, a chilling wind swept through the village. The villagers gathered in the town square to discuss a growing problem. The enchanted forest had begun to spread its roots and vines into the village, causing crops to wither and homes to become entangled. They feared that if the forest's magic continued to encroach, their village would be consumed. An old woman named Matilda, who was known for her wisdom and knowledge of the forest, stepped forward. "The forest is alive with magic," she said, "and it is disturbed by an imbalance. The heart of the forest, a magical crystal that keeps the forest in harmony, has been stolen by a dark sorceress named Morgana. Only by retrieving the crystal can we restore balance and save our village." The villagers were frightened, but Avellini felt a stirring of courage within her. "I will go into the enchanted forest and retrieve the heart of the forest," she declared. Despite her father's protests, Avellini was determined to save her home. Equipped with her father's handcrafted bow, a quiver of arrows, and a small satchel of provisions, Avellini set off into the enchanted forest. The forest was both beautiful and eerie, with towering trees that seemed to whisper secrets and glowing flowers that lit her path. She walked for hours, guided by the light of the full moon. As she ventured deeper, Avellini encountered a fox with fur as white as snow and eyes that sparkled like sapphires. "Greetings, young adventurer," the fox said. "I am Finn, guardian of the forest. I sense your noble quest to retrieve the heart of the forest. I will guide you, but you must prove your worthiness by solving 3 riddles." Avellini nodded, ready for the challenge. Finn's first riddle was, "I speak without a mouth and hear without ears." I have no body, but I come alive with the wind. What am I? Avellini thought for a moment before answering, an echo. Finn nodded in approval. Very good. The second riddle, I am not alive, but I grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. I don't have a mouth, but water kills me. What am I? Fire, Avellini replied confidently. Correct, said Finn. Now for the final riddle. I am seen in the water if seen in the sky. I am in the rainbow, a jay's feather, and lapis lazuli. What am I? Blue, Avellini answered. Finn smiled. You are indeed worthy. Follow me. The fox led Avellini through winding paths and hidden trails until they reached a dark cave, where Morgana resided. As they approached the cave, Morgana appeared, her eyes glowing with malice. So, a brave girl comes to steal my prize, she hissed. You cannot defeat me. Avellini stood tall. I do not wish to fight. I only seek to restore balance and save my village. The heart of the forest does not belong to you. Morgana laughed, but before she could cast a spell, Finn darted forward, distracting her. Seizing the opportunity, Avellini knocked an arrow and aimed for the crystal hanging around Morgana's neck. With a deep breath, she released the arrow, striking the crystal and shattering its chain. The heart of the forest fell to the ground, and Avellini quickly retrieved it. Morgana screamed in rage, but as Avellini held the crystal high, its light filled the cave, driving the sorceress back. The forest responded to the crystal's power, and Morgana, unable to withstand its pure magic, vanished in a swirl of dark smoke. With the heart of the forest in hand, Avellini and Finn returned to the heart of the enchanted forest. There, they placed the crystal in its rightful place, and the forest immediately began to heal. The roots and vines withdrew from the village, and the balance was restored. Avellini returned to her village a hero. The villagers celebrated her bravery and wisdom, and her father and brother embraced her with tears of joy. The heart of the forest continued to protect the village, ensuring its prosperity for generations to come. And so, Avellini's tale became a cherished legend in Eldoria, a story of courage, kindness, and the magic of a brave heart. And they all lived happily ever after. Once upon a time, in a lush, green valley surrounded by towering mountains, there was a peaceful village named Everwood. The village was known for its vibrant meadows, enchanted forests, and a crystal-clear pond at its center, which was rumored to have magical properties. The pond was said to grant one wish every 100 years, but it had been centuries since anyone had made a wish or seen the magical results. In this village lived a clever and kind-hearted young girl named Eloan. Eloan loved exploring the forest and had a special bond with the animals that lived there. One sunny afternoon, while wandering near the crystal pond, Eloan spotted a beautiful silver fox with a bushy tail and shimmering fur. The fox had eyes as bright as sapphires and seemed to be searching for something. Intrigued, Eloan approached the fox. "Hello, friend," she said gently. "Can I help you with something?" The silver fox turned to her and spoke in a soft, melodic voice. "I am in search of the Moonstone, a gem of great power that was lost long ago. It is said that the Moonstone is hidden near this pond, and I need it to restore balance to the magical creatures of the forest." Eloan was fascinated and offered to help the silver fox in its quest. Together, they began searching the area around the pond. As they searched, the fox told Eloan about the Moonstone's history. It had once been a source of light and harmony, but it was stolen by a dark sorcerer who wished to use its power for evil. The sorcerer had hidden the Moonstone, and its absence had caused discord among the magical creatures. As they searched, Eloan noticed that the pond's water seemed to glow softly in the moonlight, and there was a gentle hum coming from beneath the surface. Guided by the light and the hum, she and the fox waded into the pond. Eloan reached into the water, feeling around until her fingers touched something smooth and cool. She pulled out a small, ornate box covered in ancient runes. The box was intricately carved with symbols of the moon and stars. With the fox's guidance, Eloan opened the box, revealing the Moonstone nestled inside. It was a gem of breathtaking beauty, radiating a soft, silvery light that seemed to dance with the reflection of the moon. The silver fox's eyes sparkled with joy. "You have found it. Now we must return it to the heart of the forest, where it belongs." Iloan and the silver fox journeyed deeper into the forest, guided by the light of the moonstone. They passed through dense thickets and over sparkling streams, following a path that seemed to be illuminated by the gem's glow. Along the way, they encountered various magical creatures, talking birds, gentle deer, and mischievous fairies, all of whom thanked Iloan for finding the moonstone. When they reached the heart of the forest, a sacred grove surrounded by ancient trees and shimmering flowers, the silver fox placed the moonstone on a pedestal at the center of the grove. As the moonstone was set in place, it released a brilliant burst of light that filled the entire grove with a warm, soothing glow. The balance was restored to the forest, and the magical creatures rejoiced. The trees seemed to hum with renewed vitality, and the flowers bloomed more brightly than ever. The silver fox turned to Iloan with gratitude in its eyes. "You have done a great deed. The moonstone is where it belongs, and harmony has been restored." As a token of their thanks, the creatures of the forest presented Iloan with a small, delicate charm made from the petals of enchanted flowers. The charm glowed softly, a symbol of the magical bond she had formed with the forest. Iloan returned to Everwood, where she was welcomed as a hero. The village celebrated her bravery and kindness with a grand feast, and the crystal pond became a place of wonder and peace once more. The magical creatures of the forest continued to visit the village, sharing their stories and adding to the village's charm. The tale of Iloan and the silver fox became a cherished legend in Everwood, a story told to every child as a reminder of the power of courage, kindness, and the magic that exists in every corner of the world. And so, the valley thrived in harmony, with Iloan's heart forever connected to the enchanted forest and the shimmering moonstone. Once upon a time, in a land far beyond the tallest mountains and deepest forests, there was a kingdom named Eloria. Eloria was a place of wondrous magic and marvelous creatures, where every tree and river seemed to hum with enchantment. In this kingdom, there was a humble village called Willowbrook. It was known for its picturesque cottages, fragrant gardens, and a large, ancient willow tree in the village square. The tree was believed to be magical, its branches stretching high into the sky, and its roots delving deep into the earth, guarding the village's secrets and wishes. Among the villagers was a young girl named Lila. She was known for her kind heart and curious nature. Lila had a special bond with the willow tree, often spending her afternoons reading under its shade or whispering her dreams to its ancient bark. She had always believed that the tree had a secret, a hidden power waiting to be discovered. One crisp autumn morning, as Lila was tending to her garden, a peculiar sight caught her eye. A small, iridescent butterfly with wings like stained glass fluttered around her. It landed on her shoulder, and to her astonishment, it spoke in a gentle, melodic voice. "Lila," said the butterfly, "the time has come for you to embark on a journey. The willow tree has chosen you." Lila's eyes widened. "A journey? Where to?" "To the enchanted glade," the butterfly replied. "There, you will find the key to a great mystery that has long been hidden from Eloria." With a mix of excitement and apprehension, Lila agreed to the adventure. She packed a small satchel with essentials, a map, a flask of water, some bread, and her favorite book, and set off towards the heart of the forest. The path to the enchanted glade was winding and lush, filled with vibrant flowers and curious creatures. Lila followed the butterfly, which flitted ahead, leading the way through the dense foliage. The deeper she ventured, the more magical the forest became. The trees glowed with a soft, ethereal light, and the air was filled with the melody of unseen songbirds. After hours of walking, they arrived at a clearing bathed in silver moonlight. At the center of the glade stood a crystal-clear pond, its waters shimmering like liquid stars. On the opposite shore was a small, ornate chest, half buried in the moss. The butterfly hovered over the chest. "Open it," it urged. Lila approached the chest with a sense of wonder. She carefully lifted the lid, revealing a delicate golden key nestled inside. The key was intricately carved with symbols and patterns that seemed to shift and dance in the light. The key to what? Lila wondered aloud. The key to unlocking the willow tree's greatest secret, the butterfly explained. You must return to Willowbrook and use this key to unlock the hidden chamber within the tree. With the golden key safely in her possession, Lila retraced her steps back to Willowbrook. As she approached the village, the sun was setting, casting a warm, golden glow over the landscape. The villagers gathered in the square as they always did for the evening's festivities. Lila's return was met with cheers and curiosity as she made her way to the willow tree. She carefully inserted the golden key into a hidden lock she had discovered earlier but never understood. With a soft click, the willow tree's trunk opened like a secret door, revealing a hidden chamber within. Inside, the chamber was filled with glowing crystals and ancient scrolls. At the center was a pedestal with an intricately carved book. Lila picked up the book and opened it. The pages were filled with tales of old, stories of magic and wonder that had been forgotten over the ages. It was a book of knowledge and wisdom, a treasure trove of Eloria's lost heritage. As Lila read the book, she realized that the willow tree was a guardian of ancient magic, preserving the kingdom's history and secrets for generations. By rediscovering the book, she had not only unlocked the tree's secret but also rejuvenated the village's connection to its magical past. From that day on, the villagers of Willowbrook celebrated their newfound knowledge and the magic that had always been a part of their lives. Lila continued to visit the willow tree, now with a deeper understanding of its power and a sense of responsibility to preserve its legacy. And so, the tale of Lila and the Enchanted Glade became a cherished story in Eloria, passed down through the generations. It reminded everyone that magic was not just in the extraordinary, but in the simple moments of wonder and discovery that connected them to their past and to each other. And they all lived happily ever after. In the heart of a vast and mystical forest, there was a small, hidden village known as Eldergrove. The village was renowned for its breathtaking beauty and the harmony between its inhabitants and nature. However, the village had a secret that was known only to its elders. Every century, an enchanted lantern would appear in the forest, holding the key to a powerful magic that could protect the village for another 100 years. This lantern was said to glow with a light so pure that it could dispel any darkness. But it had been missing for decades, and the villagers had grown worried as shadows began to creep into their once joyous land. One sunny morning, a young and adventurous girl named Lyra set out from Eldergrove on an errand to fetch herbs for her grandmother. As she wandered deeper into the forest, she stumbled upon an old, crumbling map partially buried beneath fallen leaves. Intrigued, Lyra carefully brushed off the dirt and examined the map. It depicted the forest and led to a mysterious location marked with an ancient symbol, a lantern. Lyra decided to follow the map, hoping it might lead her to the legendary lantern. With her trusty dog, Bramble, by her side, she embarked on a journey through the forest. The Forest of Echoes. The map guided Lyra and Bramble to the Forest of Echoes, a part of the forest where every sound was amplified and returned with a mysterious echo. The echoes were known to be both beautiful and confusing, often leading travelers astray. As they ventured through the forest, Lyra and Bramble encountered a series of echoes that spoke in riddles. They had to listen carefully and solve each riddle to find their way. The first riddle came from a tree with a voice as gentle as the breeze, I have cities but no houses, forests but no trees, and rivers but no water. What am I? Lyra thought for a moment and realized the answer was the map. She and Bramble followed the path that the echo revealed, which led them to a shimmering waterfall. The Whispering Waterfall. The second clue was hidden behind the Whispering Waterfall, where the water whispered secrets of the forest. Lyra noticed that the whispers seemed to form words when she listened closely. The whispers spoke of a hidden cave behind the waterfall, where the next clue awaited. Lyra and Bramble carefully made their way behind the waterfall and found a small cave. Inside the cave, they discovered a set of ancient symbols etched into the stone. The symbols were the final clue. They needed to decode them to find the lantern's location. the enchanted grove with the symbols deciphered, Lyra and Bramble were led to the enchanted grove, a part of the forest where the trees glowed with a soft, otherworldly light. The lantern was said to be hidden here, but its exact location was shrouded in mystery. As they entered the grove, Lyra noticed a circle of ancient, glowing stones. In the center of the circle was a pedestal with an inscription, **, only the light of true kindness will reveal the lantern's light. Lyra and Bramble spent the day helping the forest creatures, rescuing a trapped fox, nursing an injured bird back to health, and clearing a path for a family of deer. As they performed these acts of kindness, the glowing stones began to shine more brightly. As night fell, the stones illuminated a hidden compartment beneath the pedestal. Inside was the enchanted lantern, glowing softly but not yet at its full potential. Restoring the lantern, Lyra realized that the lantern's light needed to be fully restored by the magic of the forest. She gently took the lantern and placed it in the center of the grove. The forest responded to her kindness, and a magical energy began to flow from the lantern, drawing in the light from the glowing stones and the moonlight above. The lantern's light grew brighter and brighter until it shone with a brilliant, warm glow that filled the entire grove. The once shadowed corners of the forest now sparkled with renewed vitality, and the darkness that had begun to creep into Eldergrove was dispelled. Lyra and Bramble returned to the village, where they were greeted with joy and gratitude. The villagers celebrated the return of the enchanted lantern and the restoration of their beloved forest's magic. Queen Elara, the village's wise and kind leader, presented Lyra with a special medal of honor for her bravery and kindness. The lantern was placed in a prominent spot in the village square, where its light continued to protect and nurture Eldergrove for generations to come. The story of Lyra's adventure became a cherished tale in Eldergrove, reminding everyone of the power of kindness and the importance of protecting the magic that exists within their hearts and their world. And so, the village thrived under the warm light of the enchanted lantern, and the forest remained a place of wonder and magic, cherished by all who lived there. The end. Once upon a time, in a quaint village called Lunaville, nestled in a valley surrounded by rolling hills, lived a young girl named Elara. The village was known for its breathtaking night skies, where the moon cast a soft, silver glow over everything. The villagers cherished the nighttime, as it was when the Moonlight Music Festival was held every year. The highlight of the festival was the Moonlit Melody, a magical tune that could only be played by the Moonlight Harp, a mystical instrument said to be crafted by the moon itself. This harp was kept in a secret chamber beneath the village's old clock tower, accessible only during the full moon when the moonlight was strongest. One crisp autumn evening, as the full moon rose high and bathed the village in its gentle light, Elara was preparing for the festival. She had always admired the moonlit melody and dreamed of one day playing it herself. That night, however, something unusual happened. As the festival commenced, the harp's music failed to fill the air. The villagers were puzzled and dismayed. It seemed the moonlit melody was missing. Elara felt a pang of determination. She believed that the moon itself would guide her, so she decided to embark on a quest to find the missing moonlit melody. Guided by the silvery moonlight, she set out towards the old clock tower. At the base of the clock tower, Elara found a hidden staircase covered in dust. She climbed the steps cautiously, her heart racing with anticipation. At the top, she discovered a large, ornate door engraved with celestial symbols. It was locked with a complex mechanism that seemed to shimmer in the moonlight. Elara noticed a small inscription on the door: "Only the pure-hearted can open the door by solving the moon's puzzle." She took a deep breath and examined the door closely. The puzzle consisted of stars that needed to be aligned correctly to reveal the hidden chamber. Recalling the stories she had heard, Elara remembered that the moon's phases were essential in solving the puzzle. She carefully adjusted the stars to match the phases of the moon, new moon, crescent, half moon, and full moon. As she aligned the final star with the full moon phase, the door creaked open, revealing a grand chamber bathed in a soft, golden glow. In the center of the chamber was the moonlight harp, but its strings were tangled and broken. Elara approached the harp with a heavy heart, knowing that she needed to restore it to play the moonlit melody. Suddenly, the chamber was filled with a soft, musical whisper. Ilara looked around and saw a delicate, glowing figure emerge from the shadows. It was the Moonlight Spirit, a guardian of the harp. "You have shown great courage and a pure heart, Ilara," the Moonlight Spirit said. "To restore the harp, you must gather 3 magical elements: the silver feather of the moonbird, the stardust gem, and the whispering dewdrop." Ilara nodded, determined to complete the quest. The Moonlight Spirit guided her to the first destination. Her first task was to find the silver feather of the moonbird, which was said to be hidden in the Forest of Whispers. The forest was known for its mystical creatures and ancient trees. As Ilara ventured into the forest, she followed the gentle melody of a bird's psalm. She soon encountered the moonbird, perched gracefully on a high branch. The moonbird, recognizing Ilara's noble intent, gifted her a shimmering silver feather. Next, Ilara traveled to the Stardust Cavern, a hidden grotto that sparkled with stardust. The entrance was guarded by a clever fox who challenged Ilara to a riddle. Ilara solved the riddle with ease, and the fox granted her the Stardust Gem, a radiant gem that glowed with the light of countless stars. For the final element, Ilara went to the Dewdrop Meadow, where she carefully collected a whispering dewdrop from a delicate flower. The dew was said to hold the soft whispers of the night breeze. With all 3 magical elements, Ilara returned to the chamber beneath the clock tower. The Moonlight Spirit guided her as she used the silver feather, stardust gem, and whispering dewdrop to repair and enchant the harp. As Ilara strummed the harp strings, the moonlit melody filled the chamber with its enchanting music. The melody flowed through the village, weaving a magical spell that restored the moon's light and brought joy to the hearts of the villagers. The Moonlight Harp's music echoed through Lunaville, and the festival became more magical than ever before. Ilara's bravery and kindness were celebrated, and she was hailed as a hero of the village. From that night on, the moonlit melody became a cherished tradition, and Ilara's tale was passed down through generations as a reminder of the power of courage and the magic of the moon. The Enchanted Compass. Once upon a time, in a kingdom nestled between enchanted forests and sparkling rivers, there was a quaint village named Greenhaven. Greenhaven was a place of peace and beauty, but it had a mysterious secret, a hidden treasure buried deep within the heart of the Whispering Forest. Legend had it that the treasure was guarded by ancient magic and could only be found by someone with a pure heart and unyielding courage. In Greenhaven lived a curious and kind-hearted young girl named Lila. Lila was known for her adventurous spirit and her love for helping others. Despite her small stature, she had a heart as vast as the forest itself. She often dreamed of discovering the hidden treasure to help her village thrive, especially since her family struggled to make ends meet. One day, while exploring her grandmother's attic, Lila stumbled upon an old wooden box covered in dust. Inside, she found a beautifully crafted compass adorned with intricate carvings of stars and moons. Attached to the compass was a note that read, "To find the hidden treasure, follow the compass with a heart full of kindness." The journey begins. Excited by her discovery, Lila decided to embark on a quest to find the hidden treasure. As she set off into the Whispering Forest, the compass began to glow softly, guiding her deeper into the woods. The forest was alive with magical creatures and shimmering lights, and the trees seemed to whisper secrets as she walked. Lila soon encountered a wise old tortoise named Thorn. Thorn had a gentle demeanor and spoke with a voice that rumbled like distant thunder. "To proceed, you must solve a riddle," Thorn said. "Listen carefully. I have cities, but no houses. I have mountains, but no trees. I have water, but no fish. What am I?" Lila thought for a moment and then answered, "A map." Thorn nodded in approval and revealed a hidden path that would lead Lila further into the forest. "Follow this path, but be mindful of the magic that dwells within the woods," Thorn warned. The enchanted clearing. As Lila ventured deeper, she arrived at a stunning clearing bathed in moonlight. At the center of the clearing stood a magnificent, ancient tree with branches that sparkled like diamonds. The compass in Lila's hand began to spin wildly, its needle pointing directly at the tree. Lila approached the tree and saw a small door carved into its trunk. She hesitated for a moment, then gently opened the door, revealing a spiral staircase leading downward. With a deep breath, Lila descended the staircase, her heart pounding with anticipation. At the bottom of the stairs, Lila entered a cavern filled with glittering gemstones and golden artifacts. In the center of the cavern was a pedestal with a chest covered in delicate vines. The compass's needle pointed directly at the chest. The treasure and its guardian. As Lila approached the chest, a gentle but imposing figure emerged from the shadows. It was a guardian spirit with shimmering wings and a serene expression. "You have shown great courage and kindness," the guardian said. "To claim the treasure, you must answer one final question. What is the greatest treasure of all?" Lila thought deeply and replied, "The greatest treasure of all is the love and kindness we share with others." The guardian smiled warmly and nodded. "You have spoken the truth. This treasure is not just for one, but for all who are deserving." The chest slowly opened, revealing not gold or jewels, but a beautiful, glowing orb. The orb radiated a warm light that filled the cavern and then expanded outward, touching every corner of the whispering forest. The magic of the orb. As the light spread, Lila noticed that the forest around her began to flourish. The trees grew lush and green, and the animals came out to play, their coats gleaming with vitality. The orb's magic revitalized the land, ensuring that Greenhaven would never suffer from drought or famine again. Lila returned to her village with a heart full of joy and hope. The villagers marveled at the transformation and celebrated Lila's bravery. The enchantment brought prosperity to Greenhaven, and the village thrived like never before. The legacy Lila's adventure became a cherished tale in Greenhaven, a story passed down through generations. The compass and the orb were revered as symbols of hope and kindness, reminding everyone that the true treasure lies in the love and selflessness we show to one another. And so, Greenhaven continued to flourish, forever blessed by the magic of the enchanted compass and the heart of one extraordinary young girl. Once upon a time, in a land where rolling hills met endless forests, there was a quaint village named Brookhaven. The village was known for its picturesque scenery, with meandering streams and fields of wildflowers. However, there was one place that stood out among the rest, the Whispering Well, an ancient well at the edge of the village that was said to hold magical secrets. The well was covered with ivy and moss, and its stone walls were engraved with mysterious runes. Villagers would visit the well to toss in a coin and make a wish, hoping that their dreams would come true. But for many years, the well had gone silent, and no one heard its whispers anymore. In Brookhaven lived a curious and kind-hearted girl named Arya. Arya loved stories about magic and adventure, and she was fascinated by the Whispering Well. She often wondered why it had become silent and wished she could uncover its secrets. One bright summer day, after hearing yet another tale about the well from her grandmother, Arya decided it was time to find out the truth. With a small satchel of provisions and a heart full of determination, she set off towards the well. As she approached the well, she noticed how the ivy had grown thick around it, almost as if it were guarding something precious. Arya gently brushed away the ivy and examined the runes carved into the stones. They seemed to shimmer faintly in the sunlight. "I'll help you," she said softly to the well, though she wasn't sure if anyone could hear her. Suddenly, a gentle breeze stirred, and Arya heard a faint whispering. It was as though the well was trying to speak to her. The whispers were too soft to understand clearly, but Arya felt a sense of urgency and mystery. Determined to decipher the whispers, Arya decided to spend the night beside the well. She built a small fire and sat quietly, listening to the soothing sounds of the forest and the distant murmur of the well. As night fell, the moonlight bathed the well in a silvery glow, and the whispers grew clearer. The whispers revealed a tale of a magical guardian, a sprite named Leora, who had once tended to the well and ensured its magic flowed freely. But long ago, a terrible drought had struck the land, and Leora, in her efforts to save the village, sacrificed her own magic to bring water back to the people. The well's magic had dimmed since then, and the sprite had vanished, leaving behind a single, final wish. Arya understood that the well needed someone pure of heart to restore its magic. As the whispers grew fainter, she heard a final piece of advice: to awaken the well, you must offer a gift of selflessness. Arya thought deeply about what she could give. She remembered the villagers and their needs, the crops that had struggled, and the animals that had suffered during the drought. She realized that her own happiness was tied to the well-being of her village. So, she made a decision. Arya gathered wildflowers from the forest and arranged them into a beautiful bouquet. She placed the bouquet gently by the well, along with a note expressing her wish for the village to always have enough water, happiness, and prosperity. She sat beside the well, holding her hands over it and focusing on her wish for the village. As the first light of dawn touched the horizon, the well began to shimmer with a brilliant, golden light. The ivy and moss receded, revealing the well's true beauty. The whispers grew into a harmonious melody, and Leora, the sprite guardian, appeared before Arya, radiant and smiling. "You have restored the magic with your selfless gift," Leora said warmly. "The well's magic will now flow freely once more, and the village will be blessed." With a wave of her hand, Leora filled the well with sparkling, clear water that flowed with a gentle, musical hum. The well's magic was renewed, and the land of Brookhaven began to flourish like never before. Arya returned to the village, where she was greeted with joy and relief. The villagers marveled at the well's renewed beauty and the abundance of fresh water that seemed to flow effortlessly. They celebrated Arya's bravery and kindness, and the Whispering Well once again became a symbol of hope and magic. From that day forward, the village thrived, and the well's whispers were heard far and wide, bringing blessings and good fortune to all who visited. Arya's selfless act of kindness had not only restored the well but had also rekindled the spirit of unity and prosperity in Brookhaven. And so, in the land where the Whispering Well's magic flowed freely, Arya and the villagers lived happily ever after, their hearts and their land forever blessed. Once upon a time, in a land where the skies were always bright and the trees always green, there was a hidden forest known as the Forest of the Forgotten. This magical forest was filled with trees that held the memories of those who had wandered through its woods long ago. The forest was said to be enchanted, and its magic was both wondrous and mysterious. In a cozy cottage at the edge of the village of Larkspur, lived a young girl named Elara. Elara was known throughout the village for her curiosity and kindness. Her parents had passed away when she was very young, and she lived with her wise grandmother, who often told her stories about the magical Forest of the Forgotten. One evening, Elara's grandmother told her about a special tree in the forest, the Tree of Wishes. This ancient tree was said to grant one true wish to someone who had a pure heart and selfless intentions. The tree's magic could only be unlocked by someone who truly needed help, and Elara decided she wanted to find it. Early one morning, with a basket of supplies and a heart full of hope, Elara set off on her adventure into the Forest of the Forgotten. The forest was filled with a symphony of sounds, birds chirping, leaves rustling, and the gentle murmur of a hidden brook. The deeper Elara ventured, the more the forest seemed alive with secrets. As Elara walked, she noticed the trees seemed to watch her with their wise, old eyes. She felt a bit nervous but pressed on, remembering her grandmother's stories. After a few hours of wandering, Elara came upon a small clearing with a shimmering stream flowing through it. At the center of the clearing was a beautiful, golden tree with leaves that glowed softly. Elara approached the tree with awe and gently touched its bark. "I've come seeking the Tree of Wishes," she said softly. "I need help for my village, which has been suffering from a terrible drought. If you can help us, would be forever grateful." The Tree of Wishes responded with a warm, golden light. Its leaves rustled as if whispering secrets, and a gentle breeze carried the sound of a soothing voice. "Your heart is pure, Elara," the tree spoke. "The village has suffered, and your kindness and courage have brought you here. I will grant your wish, but first, you must complete a task." Elara listened intently as the Tree of Wishes explained the task. She had to retrieve a magical crystal hidden deep within the forest, guarded by a fierce dragon. This crystal had the power to summon rain and end the drought. Though frightened, Elara was determined to help her village. With the tree's guidance, Elara ventured further into the forest, following a path marked by glowing mushrooms. She reached a dark cave where the dragon was said to live. Gathering her courage, she entered the cave and found the dragon, an enormous, shimmering creature with scales like jewels. The dragon looked at Elara with curious eyes. "Why have you come here, little one?" it rumbled. "I need the crystal to help my village," Elara said bravely. "We're suffering from a drought, and I must bring it back to save them." The dragon studied her carefully and then nodded. "Many have come seeking the crystal, but you are the first to show such bravery and kindness. The crystal is yours, but remember, it is a powerful gift. Use it wisely." With a respectful bow, Elara took the crystal and thanked the dragon. She made her way back to the Tree of Wishes, where the tree used its magic to combine the crystal's power with its own. A gentle rain began to fall, soaking the thirsty ground and bringing relief to the land. Elara returned to her village, where everyone rejoiced at the sight of the rain. The crops began to grow, and the village flourished once more. Elara was celebrated as a hero, but she humbly shared that the true magic had come from the heart of the forest and the kindness she had shown. The villagers, inspired by Elara's bravery and the magic of the forest, learned to care for one another and cherish the gifts of the land. The Forest of the Forgotten remained a place of wonder, where the memories of those who showed kindness lived on forever. And so, Elara's tale was passed down through generations, reminding everyone that even in the darkest times, a pure heart and a selfless wish can bring about the most magical changes. The end. The Starflower and the Dreamweaver. Once upon a time, in a kingdom far beyond the clouds, there was a magical land known as Celestia. Celestia was a realm of wondrous sights, fields of glittering stardust, skies that shimmered with colors unseen on Earth, and a magnificent castle built from moonlight and dreams. In this enchanting kingdom lived a young girl named Lyra. Lyra was known for her kindness and her extraordinary gift of crafting dreams. She was the dream weaver, responsible for weaving dreams for the people of Celestia, ensuring their nights were filled with wonder and joy. One day, Lyra discovered a troubling message in the threads of a dream she was weaving. A dark shadow was creeping into Celestia, threatening to snuff out the magic of dreams and bring darkness to the land. The only way to stop this dark shadow was to find the elusive Starflower, a legendary bloom said to hold the power to restore light and hope. The quest for the Starflower. Determined to protect her kingdom, Lyra set off on her quest to find the Starflower. The journey led her to the edge of Celestia, where the landscape transformed from fields of stardust to a mysterious, mist-covered forest known as the Twilight Woods. The Twilight Woods were known for their magical inhabitants and enchanted paths. As Lyra ventured into the forest, she encountered three magical beings: a shimmering dragonfly named Phelan, a wise old tortoise named Thaddeus, and a mischievous squirrel named Pippin. Each of them offered Lyra a clue about the Starflower's whereabouts. Phelan spoke of a hidden grove where the Starflower bloomed, Thaddeus advised her to follow the light of the moon, and Pippin warned her of the trap set by the forest's enchantments. The enchanted grove. Following the clues, Lyra journeyed deeper into the Twilight Woods. She navigated through the misty paths, guided by the moonlight and the sparkling trail left by Phelan. After a long and arduous trek, she finally arrived at the enchanted grove. The grove was bathed in a soft, silver glow, and at its center stood a majestic, ethereal flower with petals that shimmered like stars. This was the Starflower. As Lyra approached, she saw that its light was dimming, and the dark shadow she had seen in the dream thread seemed to be closing in on it. The dark shadow materialized before her. It was a formidable creature, a shadowy figure with eyes that glowed like embers. The shadow snarled, "The Starflower's magic belongs to the darkness now. You cannot save it." Lyra, though frightened, stood her ground. She remembered the wisdom of her friends and the importance of the Starflower to Celestia. Gathering her courage, she used her dream weaver powers to craft a dream of hope and light, weaving it into the air like a shimmering tapestry. The dream's light began to push back the darkness, and the Starflower's petals started to glow brighter. The dark shadow roared in frustration as the light grew stronger, dispelling the shadows that had threatened the grove. Restoring the light with the shadow vanquished, Lyra gently tended to the Starflower, using her magic to restore its full brilliance. The flower's light spread throughout the grove, banishing the last remnants of darkness and filling the air with a warm, comforting glow. Lyra carefully picked a single petal from the starflower and held it close. The flower's light infused her with a sense of peace and renewed strength. She knew that this precious petal would help protect Celestia from future threats. Returning to Celestia, Lyra returned to Celestia, the starflower's petal glowing brightly in her hand. The kingdom welcomed her with open arms, and the Dreamweaver's magic was restored. Celestia flourished once more, bathed in the light of the starflower and the hope that Lyra had brought back. The tale of Lyra's bravery and the quest for the starflower became a cherished legend in Celestia. The people celebrated their hero, and the light of the starflower continued to shine brightly, a symbol of courage, hope, and the enduring magic of dreams. And so, the kingdom of Celestia thrived under the watchful glow of the starflower, forever grateful to the Dreamweaver who had saved their land from darkness and ensured that their dreams would always be filled with light. Once upon a time, in a peaceful village surrounded by whispering woods and sparkling streams, there was a young girl named Leora. Leora was known for her curiosity and boundless energy. She was always exploring the forests and meadows near her home, discovering hidden nooks and secrets. One evening, as Leora played by the edge of the forest, she found an old, ornate compass buried beneath a tangle of roots. The compass was unlike any she had ever seen. Its needle shimmered with a soft, silvery light, and its face was adorned with intricate designs of stars and moons. Leora picked it up, feeling a tingle of excitement. As she examined the compass, the needle began to spin wildly. Then, to her amazement, it settled, pointing directly into the heart of the forest. Intrigued, Leora decided to follow it. She ventured deeper into the woods, the compass guiding her through the darkening forest. The forest seemed to come alive as she walked. The leaves rustled with whispers, and tiny glowing lights danced around her. After a while, she reached a hidden grove bathed in soft moonlight. At the center of the grove stood a grand oak tree with a door carved into its trunk. Leora approached the door, which was adorned with silver vines and sparkling gems. She hesitated for a moment, then took a deep breath and knocked. The door creaked open, revealing a spiral staircase leading down into the earth. With a mix of excitement and apprehension, Leora descended the staircase. At the bottom, Leora found herself in a magical underground realm. The air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers, and the walls glittered with crystals that reflected a myriad of colors. She walked down a path lined with glowing mushrooms and came to a large, shimmering pool. From the pool emerged a graceful figure with shimmering wings, a moon fairy named Selene. Selene's eyes sparkled like the night sky as she greeted Leora. "Welcome, brave traveler. I am Selene, the guardian of the Moonlight Compass. It has brought you here because our realm is in need of your help." Leora looked around in wonder. "What can I do to help?" Selene explained that the moonlight that illuminated their realm was fading. The source of their moonlight, a magical moonstone, had been stolen by a shadowy figure known as the Gloom Sprite. Without the moonstone, the realm would lose its light and magic. "The Gloom Sprite has hidden the moonstone in the Cave of Shadows," Selene said. "Only someone with a pure heart and unwavering courage can retrieve it." Determined to help, Leora accepted the challenge. Selene gave her a small, moonlit vial filled with shimmering liquid. "This vial will protect you from the shadows. Trust in your compass, and it will guide you to the cave." With the vial in hand and her compass leading the way, Leora set off towards the Cave of Shadows. The path was dark and winding, and the shadows seemed to stretch and twist around her. She took a deep breath and held the vial close, feeling its warmth. As she approached the cave's entrance, she saw the Gloom Sprite. A small, mischievous figure cloaked in darkness, guarding the moonstone. The sprite was twirling the moonstone in his hands, casting eerie shadows on the cave walls. "Why have you stolen the moonstone?" Leora asked bravely. The Gloom Sprite sighed, his eyes softening. "I took it because I wanted to be the most powerful sprite in the realm. I didn't realize how much the moonstone meant to everyone. Without it, the magic of the realm is fading, and I feel it too." Leora's heart went out to the sprite. "It's not too late to make things right. Return the moonstone, and we can restore the light and magic together." The gloom sprite looked at Leora, her kindness touching him deeply. With a reluctant nod, he handed her the moonstone. As soon as the moonstone was in Leora's hands, its light began to shine brightly once more. With the moonstone secured, Leora made her way back to the moonlit realm. The moment she stepped into the underground realm, the moonstone's light bathed everything in a warm, silvery glow. The crystals sparkled even more brilliantly, and the air was filled with a renewed sense of magic. Celine and the other magical beings gathered to greet Leora. "You have done it!" Celine exclaimed. "You've restored the moonstone and saved our realm. Your courage and kindness have brought back our light." The moon fairy and the magical creatures celebrated Leora's bravery, and as a token of their gratitude, Celine bestowed upon her a pendant with a tiny moonstone charm. "This pendant will always guide you back to our realm whenever you need it." Leora bid farewell to her new friends and returned to her village, the moonlight guiding her way. She kept the pendant close, a reminder of her incredible adventure and the magic she had helped restore. From that day on, Leora's tales of the moonlit realm and her brave journey became legendary in her village. The compass, once a mysterious artifact, now rested safely in her home, a symbol of the adventure and the magic that awaited those with a pure heart and a sense of wonder. The end. Once upon a time, in a cozy little village nestled between rolling hills and lush forests, there was a young artist named Mia. Mia loved to paint, but her works never seemed to capture the magic she saw in her mind. Her paintings were lovely but lacked the sparkle she longed for. One day, while wandering in the woods for inspiration, Mia stumbled upon a small, hidden glade. In the center of this glade was an ancient oak tree with a door carved into its trunk. Curious, Mia gently knocked on the door. To her surprise, it creaked open, revealing a cozy room inside filled with shelves of paintbrushes, paints, and canvases. An elderly woman with a warm smile greeted her. "Welcome, dear," she said. "I am Elara, the guardian of the enchanted paintbrushes. How can I help you?" Mia explained her longing to capture the true magic of the world in her art. Elara listened thoughtfully and then handed Mia a beautiful paintbrush with intricate designs on its handle. "This is the enchanted paintbrush," Elara explained. "It has the power to bring your paintings to life, but it must be used with a pure heart and a genuine wish to spread joy." Excited and a bit nervous, Mia thanked Elara and promised to use the paintbrush wisely. She returned to her cottage and began to paint with her new treasure. As she dipped the paintbrush into vibrant colors, something extraordinary happened. The colors seemed to glow and dance. Mia painted a garden with blooming flowers, and as she added the final touches, the flowers began to sway as if touched by a gentle breeze. She painted a cheerful village scene, and the houses appeared to sparkle with light. Her paintings were more magical than she had ever imagined. One day, the village fell under a spell of sadness. The once bright and lively streets were now draped in gray, and the villagers felt a heavy gloom. Mia knew she had to do something. She remembered the enchanted paintbrush and decided to use it to bring happiness back to her village. She painted a large mural on the town square's wall, a scene of joy, laughter, and friendship. As she worked, the colors swirled and glowed, filling the mural with life. Birds chirped, flowers bloomed, and people in the mural danced and laughed. The mural seemed to come alive, and its happiness began to spread through the village. The gray clouds lifted, and the village was once again filled with color and joy. The villagers gathered around the mural, marveling at its beauty. They felt their spirits lift and their hearts warm. Mia's art had not only captured magic but had shared it with everyone. Word of Mia's magical painting spread far and wide, and people from neighboring villages came to see the enchanted mural. Mia shared her story in The Secret of the Enchanted Paintbrush, reminding everyone that the true magic of art lies in the joy and love it brings to others. Elara visited Mia again and praised her for using the paintbrush with a kind heart. "You have done well, Mia. The enchanted paintbrush is a gift, but the true magic comes from the heart." Mia continued to paint, her artworks now filled with the vibrant, living magic she had discovered. the village flourished, and the joy she spread through her art was felt far and wide. She became known as the artist who could paint happiness, and her legacy lived on in every stroke of her brush.
In a quaint village nestled by the edge of a mystical forest, there lived a young girl named Luna. Luna was known for her kindness and her love of the stars. Every night, she would gaze up at the moon, dreaming of far-off lands and magical adventures. One evening, as Luna wandered through the forest near her village, she stumbled upon an old, moss-covered chest hidden beneath the roots of a giant oak tree. Curious, she opened the chest and discovered a beautiful silver pendant shaped like a crescent moon. It shimmered softly, as if holding a piece of the moonlight itself. Excited by her find, Luna took the pendant home. That night, under the full moon, she noticed the pendant glowing brighter and heard a soft whisper, "Luna, you have found the moonlit pendant. Your kindness and bravery are needed." The next day, Luna learned that her village was facing a serious problem. The once lush fields had turned barren, and the river that flowed through the village had become a mere trickle. The villagers were worried and unsure of how to restore their land. Luna remembered the pendant's whisper and decided to seek help. She visited the village elder, a wise woman named Alara. Alara, upon seeing the pendant, revealed an ancient secret. The moonlit pendant is magical. It can restore life to the land, but only if you complete a quest. You must travel to the enchanted lake and retrieve the heart of the moon, a magical crystal that can bring back the vitality of the land. With determination in her heart, Luna set off on her journey. The path to the enchanted lake was fraught with challenges. She first encountered a dark forest where shadows danced and whispered. Luna was frightened but pressed on, holding the pendant close. The pendant's glow seemed to guide her through the forest, and soon she reached the edge of a sparkling, enchanted lake. The lake was guarded by a majestic, silver swan named Selene. To retrieve the heart of the moon, Selene said, "You must prove your courage and kindness. Tell me, why do you seek the heart of the moon?" Luna, her voice steady, replied, "I seek the heart of the moon to restore my village's land and help my people. I want to make a difference and bring life back to where it has faded." Selene's eyes sparkled with approval. "Your heart is pure. The heart of the moon is hidden in the depths of this lake. To retrieve it, you must face your greatest fear." Taking a deep breath, Luna stepped into the lake. The water was cool and clear, and as she swam deeper, she saw eerie shapes in the shadows. Her fear grew, but she focused on her goal. The pendant glowed brightly, lighting the way. In the depths, Luna found a shimmering crystal nestled among the reeds. The heart of the moon pulsed gently with a soft light. Luna grasped the crystal, and as she did, the shadows around her faded away, and a calming light enveloped her. With the heart of the moon in hand, Luna swam back to the surface. Selene greeted her with a smile. "You have proven your bravery and kindness. Take the heart of the moon to your village." Luna thanked Selene and made her way back home, the heart of the moon glowing warmly in her hands. As she approached the village, the pendant began to shine even brighter, guiding her to the heart of the barren fields. When Luna placed the heart of the moon in the center of the fields, its light spread outwards, bringing warmth and vitality back to the land. The crops began to grow lush and green, and the river flowed once more with clear, sparkling water. The villagers gathered around, cheering and celebrating. They marveled at Luna's bravery and the magic of the heart of the moon. The once barren land was now flourishing, and the village was vibrant and full of life once again. Luna's heart swelled with happiness as she looked at the thriving fields and the grateful faces of her fellow villagers. She realized that her journey had taught her the true power of courage, kindness, and determination. From that day on, Luna was known not only for her love of the stars, but also for her heroic heart. The moonlit pendant remained a cherished treasure, a reminder of the magic that lies within those who dare to dream and act with a pure heart. And so, Luna lived happily, always ready for new adventures and guided by the light of the moonlit pendant, knowing that she had made a difference in her village and beyond.
In a quaint village nestled at the edge of a great forest, there lived a humble lantern maker named Elias. Elias was known for crafting the most beautiful lanterns, each one filled with a soft, magical glow that seemed to dance with its own light. His lanterns were cherished by all the villagers, who used them to light up their homes and festivals. One crisp autumn evening, as Elias was closing his workshop, a mysterious old woman appeared at his door. Her cloak was tattered, and her eyes sparkled with an ancient wisdom. She introduced herself as Isolde, a traveler from a distant land. "I have heard of your remarkable lanterns," Isolde said, her voice like a soft breeze. "I have a special request for you." Elias welcomed her in and listened as Isolde explained her request. She wanted a lantern that could hold the light of the moon, a lantern that could shine with a magic so pure it would help guide lost souls back to their paths. Elias was intrigued and agreed to the challenge. Isolde handed him a small vial filled with a silvery liquid. "This is moonlight essence," she explained. "It will help you capture the moon's light. But remember, the lantern must be made with a heart full of kindness and courage." The lantern's creation. Over the next few days, Elias worked tirelessly on the lantern. He crafted the frame from the finest silver and adorned it with intricate patterns of stars and moons. Each night, he carefully mixed the moonlight essence into the lantern's glass, watching as the liquid shimmered and glowed with a soft, ethereal light. Despite his efforts, the lantern's light seemed to flicker uncertainly. Elias felt a growing sense of doubt. He worried that he might not be able to create the lantern that Isolde had asked for. One night, as Elias sat by his workbench, he heard a soft knock at his door. It was a young girl named Clara, who had come to ask Elias for help. Her beloved pet cat, Luna, had gone missing, and she was heartbroken. Elias immediately offered to help Clara search for Luna. He took his lantern with him, hoping that its light might guide them. They searched through the village and into the forest, calling for Luna. The lantern's soft glow illuminated their path, but Luna was nowhere to be found. The forest's mystery. As they ventured deeper into the forest, the lantern's light began to shine brighter and steadier. The trees seemed to part for them, guiding their way. Soon, they came across a hidden grove bathed in moonlight. In the center of the grove was a large, ancient tree with a hollow trunk. To their surprise, Luna was curled up inside, safe and sound. Clara's eyes filled with tears of joy as she scooped up her furry friend. Elias noticed something extraordinary. The lantern's light had turned into a warm, steady glow, illuminating the grove with a magical radiance. He realized that the lantern's true power was not just in capturing the moon's light, but in the kindness and courage behind it. The lantern's true magic. When Elias and Clara returned to the village, Isolde was waiting at the workshop. She examined the lantern, now glowing with a steady, magical light that seemed to pulse with life. "You have created something truly special," Isolde said, smiling warmly. "The lantern's magic comes not only from the moonlight essence but from the heart that made it." Isolde explained that the lantern's light had a unique ability to guide and protect those who were lost, reflecting the kindness and courage of the one who crafted it. It had helped Clara find her beloved pet and had illuminated the path in a time of need. A new beginning. With her task completed, Isolde prepared to leave. She thanked Elias for his hard work and presented him with a beautiful, ancient book of lantern-making techniques, filled with spells and designs from across the ages. Elias felt a renewed sense of purpose and inspiration. He continued to make lanterns for the village, but now each lantern was imbued with a bit of the magical glow he had discovered. The villagers marveled at the new light, which seemed to shine with an even more profound magic. As for Clara, she often visited Elias and shared stories of how the lantern's light had guided her and her family through dark times. The lantern had become a symbol of hope and guidance for the entire village. And so, the humble lantern maker and his enchanted lantern brought light and warmth to many lives, thanks to a bit of moonlight, a kind heart, and a touch of magic. The end. Once upon a time, in a village nestled at the edge of a magical forest, there stood an ancient willow tree known as the Whispering Willow. The villagers believed the tree held great secrets and magical powers, as its branches would sway gently even without a breeze, and its leaves would rustle with soft, melodic whispers. In this village lived a curious young girl named Eloan. Eloan had always been fascinated by the whispering willow and its mysterious whispers. She spent her afternoons sitting beneath its branches, trying to decipher the whispers and unravel its secrets. One day, as she was resting under the tree, a particularly clear whisper reached her ears: "Find the lost star and restore the light." Eloan's heart raced with excitement. She had heard tales of a fallen star that had once illuminated the night sky but had been lost for many years. Determined to restore the star's light, Eloan set out on a quest. Armed with a small backpack containing a map, a lantern, and some provisions, Eloan ventured into the forest. As she walked, she noticed the trees growing denser and the light growing dimmer. The forest was enchanting but mysterious, with paths that seemed to twist and turn on their own. As dusk fell, Eloan found herself in a grove filled with bioluminescent flowers that glowed softly in the darkness. At the center of the grove stood a tall, majestic creature, a unicorn with a shimmering mane and a gentle, knowing gaze. "Welcome, brave Eloan," the unicorn spoke in a melodious voice. "I am Lumina, the guardian of the lost star. To find the star, you must first prove your heart's worth." Lumina told Eloan that the path to the star was fraught with challenges that tested her courage, kindness, and wisdom. Eloan accepted the challenge with determination and gratitude. The first challenge led Eloan to a deep, dark cave. Inside, she found a small, frightened dragon whose tail was trapped under a heavy rock. The dragon's eyes were filled with fear, but Eloan approached calmly and gently moved the rock. The dragon thanked her with a warm, grateful smile and shared a clue: follow the path where the moonlight touches the earth. With the clue in mind, Eloan followed the path bathed in moonlight. It led her to a serene lake with waters as clear as glass. There, she encountered a wise old turtle who was stuck in a tangle of vines. Eloan carefully freed the turtle, and in return, the turtle gave her another clue: the star lies beyond the tree that never falls. Guided by the clues, Eloan reached a towering, ancient tree that seemed to touch the heavens. Its branches stretched out in all directions, and its roots were entwined with the very earth. At the base of the tree, Eloan discovered a hidden door covered in intricate carvings. With a deep breath, she opened the door and stepped into a hidden chamber illuminated by a soft, celestial glow. At the center of the chamber lay the lost star, a beautiful, radiant gem that had lost its brilliance. Eloan approached the star and spoke softly: "I have come to restore your light. Please, return to the sky where you belong." As she spoke, a magical aura enveloped the star, and its light began to rekindle. Eloan watched in awe as the star's brilliance grew brighter and brighter, filling the chamber with a dazzling glow. The star floated gently from its resting place and ascended through a hidden opening in the ceiling. As it rose, it illuminated the sky, casting a beautiful, golden light over the forest and the village beyond. Eloan emerged from the chamber to find the forest bathed in the star's warm glow. Lumina, the unicorn, appeared beside her, beaming with pride. "You have shown great courage, kindness, and wisdom," Lumina said. "The lost star is now restored, and its light will guide and protect the forest and village for years to come." Eloan returned to her village, where she was greeted with joy and celebration. The villagers marveled at the star's renewed brilliance and were grateful for Eloan's bravery. The whispering willow once again rustled with happy whispers, and its leaves sparkled in the star's light. And so, Eloan's adventure became a cherished story in the village, reminding everyone of the power of courage, kindness, and the magic that lies within each heart. The whispering willow continued to offer guidance and wisdom to those who sought its whispers, and the lost star shone brightly in the night sky, a symbol of hope and wonder. The end. Once upon a time, in the heart of the kingdom of Aurelia, there was a mysterious forest known as the Starlit Grove. Unlike any other forest, the trees of Starlit Grove sparkled with tiny, star-like lights that glimmered even in the day. The villagers believed that the grove was enchanted, but no one knew the true secret behind its magic. In the nearby village of Willowbrook lived a curious and kind-hearted girl named Eloan. Iloan had always been fascinated by the starlit grove and dreamed of uncovering its secret. The villagers, however, were wary of the grove, for they had heard stories of travelers who had ventured in and never returned. One evening, as the sun set and the stars began to twinkle, Iloan noticed a particularly bright star in the sky that seemed to be beckoning her. She decided that this was her chance to explore the grove and discover its mystery. Armed with a lantern, a map, and a small bag of supplies, she ventured into the forest just as the first stars began to appear. The entrance to the starlit grove was a grand archway of intertwined branches that shimmered with soft light. As Iloan stepped through, the grove welcomed her with a warm, twinkling glow. The path ahead was lined with glowing flowers and whispering leaves that seemed to guide her deeper into the forest. Her first challenge was a sparkling river that flowed with water like liquid starlight. A graceful water nymph named Leora appeared, floating above the river. To pass, Leora said with a melodious voice, "You must solve this riddle. I can be cracked, made, told, and played." "What am I?" Iloan thought for a moment and answered confidently, "A joke." Leora smiled and created a path of floating lily pads across the river, allowing Iloan to continue her journey. As Iloan crossed the river, she came upon a clearing where a majestic, ancient oak tree stood at its center. The tree was surrounded by a circle of luminous mushrooms. Beneath the tree sat an old, wise tortoise named Oren. To proceed, Oren said, "You must prove your understanding of true courage. Answer this question. What is the one thing you can give that will never diminish and grows only when shared?" Iloan thought deeply and answered, "Love." Oren nodded approvingly, and the mushrooms glowed brighter, revealing a hidden pathway that led Iloan deeper into the grove. The path eventually led Iloan to a grand, moonlit glade where the air was filled with the sweet scent of night-blooming flowers. At the center of the glade stood a grand pedestal with an ornate, silver chest resting upon it. As Iloan approached, the chest began to glow with a soft, inviting light. Suddenly, a celestial figure emerged from the shadows, a beautiful fairy with wings that sparkled like the night sky. She was the guardian of the starlit grove, named Seraphina. To uncover the secret of the starlit grove, Seraphina said, "You must answer one final question. What is the one thing that everyone can give, yet it is always free and never taken away?" Iloan thought hard and then said, "A smile." Seraphina smiled warmly and opened the silver chest. Inside was a radiant, star-shaped gem that seemed to pulse with the heartbeat of the grove. Seraphina explained that this gem was the source of the grove's magic. It held the essence of hope and joy, which gave the grove its enchanting glow. The true secret of the starlit grove, Seraphina said, is that its magic comes from the happiness and kindness shared by those who visit. Your heart has shown that you understand this. Iloan was honored to learn the secret and was entrusted with a small, glowing fragment of the star-shaped gem. She returned to Willowbrook with a heart full of joy and a story to share. The villagers, inspired by Iloan's bravery in the grove's magic, began to visit the starlit grove more often, spreading kindness and happiness. The grove continued to shine brightly, and its magic flourished as the villagers embraced the true spirit of its enchantment. Iloan's tale became a beloved legend in Willowbrook, a reminder of the power of kindness and the magic that exists when hearts are filled with love. And so, the starlit grove remained a beacon of light and joy in the kingdom of Aurelia, and Iloan lived happily ever after, cherished for her courage and the happiness she brought to her village. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom called Luminera, there was a grand castle nestled among rolling green hills and sparkling blue lakes. This castle was home to King Cedric and his daughter, Princess Alara. King Cedric was known for his wisdom and kindness, ruling Luminera with a fair and gentle hand. However, as the years went by, the king's heart grew heavy with sorrow, for a terrible curse had befallen the kingdom. Many years ago, a wicked sorcerer named Malgar had been banished from Luminera for his dark deeds. In his fury, Malgar cast a powerful curse upon the land, causing the once vibrant kingdom to fall into perpetual darkness. The skies were always cloudy, and the once fertile fields yielded no crops. The people of Luminera lived in fear and despair, longing for the day when the sun would shine again. One day, As Princess Elara walked through the gloomy gardens, she came across an old, frail woman sitting by the fountain. The woman had a mysterious aura, and her eyes sparkled with an otherworldly light. Intrigued, Elara approached her. "Good day, kind lady. What brings you to our troubled land?" Elara asked gently. The old woman smiled. "I have come to offer you hope, dear princess. I am Eloria, the enchantress of the woods. There is a way to break the curse that plagues your kingdom." Elara's eyes widened with hope. "Please, tell me what I must do." "The curse can only be broken by the music of the enchanted harp," Eloria explained. "This harp is hidden deep within the Forest of Whispers, guarded by ancient magic and dangerous creatures. You must find it and play the melody of light to restore peace to Luminera." Determined to save her kingdom, Elara set out on her quest the very next day. She wore a simple cloak and carried only a small bag of provisions. Before she left, her father gave her a locket containing a picture of her late mother, Queen Alicia, whose memory gave her strength. Elara journeyed through the dark, foreboding forest, the trees whispering secrets and warnings. Along the way, she encountered many trials. First, she came upon a wide river with no bridge. As she stood at the bank, pondering how to cross, a wise old turtle surfaced from the water. "Why do you seek to cross this river, young one?" the turtle asked. "I am on a quest to find the enchanted harp and save my kingdom from a terrible curse," Elara replied. The turtle nodded. "Your heart is pure, and your cause is noble. Climb onto my back, and I will carry you across." Grateful, Elara climbed onto the turtle's back, and he swam across the river, delivering her safely to the other side. Continuing her journey, Elara entered a dark and twisted part of the forest. Suddenly, a pack of wolves with glowing red eyes surrounded her, growling menacingly. Just as Elara prepared to defend herself, a large, majestic stag appeared. The wolves backed away, sensing the stag's power. "Why do you venture into the heart of darkness, brave princess?" the stag asked, its voice gentle yet commanding. "I seek the enchanted harp to break the curse on my kingdom," Elara answered, her voice steady despite her fear. The stag's eyes softened. "Your courage is admirable. Follow me, and I will guide you through the dangers of the forest." Elara followed the stag, which led her safely past the wolves and through the twisted trees. Eventually, they reached a clearing bathed in soft, magical light. In the center of the clearing stood a magnificent tree, its branches adorned with glowing flowers. At the base of the tree lay the enchanted harp, its golden strings shimmering in the light. Elara approached the harp, but as she reached out to touch it, a shadowy figure emerged from the darkness. It was Malgar, the wicked sorcerer. "Did you really think you could thwart my curse so easily?" Malgar sneered. "You will never leave this forest alive." Elara stood her ground, her heart pounding with fear. But before she could react, the enchanted harp began to play a soft, melodious tune on its own. The music was so beautiful and pure that it filled the clearing with a brilliant light, pushing back the darkness. Malgar screamed in agony as the light enveloped him, and with a final, desperate cry, he vanished into thin air. The curse that had plagued Luminera for so long was broken. Elara, tears of joy streaming down her face, picked up the harp and began to play the melody of light. The music resonated through the forest, and as it did, the trees blossomed, the skies cleared, and the sun began to shine once more. The animals of the forest gathered around, listening in awe as Elara played. The melody traveled far and wide, reaching the ears of the people of Luminera. They looked up to see the dark clouds parting, revealing a bright, clear sky for the first time in years. Elara returned to the castle, where she was greeted with cheers and celebrations. King Cedric embraced his daughter, tears of pride and happiness in his eyes. "You have saved us all, my brave Elara," he said. The kingdom of Luminera flourished once more, the fields green and bountiful, and the people joyful and prosperous. The enchanted harp was placed in a place of honor in the castle, a reminder of the courage and determination of Princess Elara. And so, Ilara's name was remembered for generations to come, a beacon of hope and a symbol of the power of love and music. The kingdom of Luminera lived in peace and harmony, forever grateful to the princess who brought light back into their lives. The end. In a land where rolling meadows met the edge of a dense, mysterious forest, there was a small village named Rivendell. The village was renowned for its shimmering fountains, each said to possess a unique magic. There was the Fountain of Joy, the Fountain of Wisdom, and the Fountain of Courage. These fountains were once the heart of the village, their waters bringing happiness, knowledge, and bravery to all who drank from them. However, over time, the fountains had been forgotten. The village's focus shifted to modern conveniences, and the ancient magic of the fountains was lost to memory. The fountains fell into disrepair, their once crystal-clear waters becoming stagnant and overgrown with weeds. Among the villagers was a young girl named Mira. Mira was known for her curiosity and kindness. One day, while exploring the overgrown paths of the village, she stumbled upon the abandoned fountains. Intrigued by the faded inscriptions and worn carvings, she felt a deep connection to the old legends her grandmother used to tell. Mira decided to restore the fountains to their former glory. She visited her grandmother, who had always been a keeper of the village's old stories. Her grandmother told her that the fountain's magic could only be revived by a special ritual that required 3 sacred ingredients: the tear of the moon, the heart of the forest, and the breath of the wind. Determined to complete the task, Mira embarked on a quest to find these ingredients. The tear of the moon. The first ingredient was the tear of the moon, a rare gem that could only be found during a full moon. Mira waited for the night of the full moon and ventured to the highest hill overlooking the village. There, she discovered a hidden cave where the moonlight filtered through a crack in the rock. Inside the cave, Mira found a shimmering gem that radiated with the light of the moon. She carefully collected the tear of the moon and moved on to her next quest. The heart of the forest. The second ingredient was the heart of the forest. A mystical flower said to bloom only in the deepest part of the forest. Guided by the ancient tales, Mira ventured into the dense woods. After hours of navigating through twisted trees and thick underbrush, she came upon a secluded glade. In the center of the glade, bathed in dappled sunlight, was the heart of the forest, a radiant flower with petals of emerald green and sapphire blue. Mira gently picked the flower, feeling its soothing energy. The breath of the wind. The final ingredient was the breath of the wind, which could only be captured atop the highest mountain peak. Mira began her ascent, braving rocky paths and chilling winds. When she reached the summit, she found an ancient wind chime made of crystal. The chime's gentle tinkling caught the wind and captured its essence. Mira carefully collected the breath of the wind in a small, enchanted vial. With all 3 ingredients secured, Mira returned to Rivendell. She began the ritual to restore the magic of the fountains. First, she placed the tear of the moon into the Fountain of Joy. As she did, the water began to sparkle, and a sense of happiness filled the air. Next, she added the heart of the forest to the Fountain of Wisdom. The water turned a deep, soothing blue, and knowledge seemed to flow through the village once again. Finally, she poured the breath of the wind into the Fountain of Courage. The water swirled with a vibrant energy, and the fountain's strength could be felt throughout the village. As the magic of the fountains was revived, Rivendell began to flourish. The villagers rediscovered the joy, wisdom, and courage that the fountains had once provided. The village came together to celebrate, and Mira was honored for her bravery and dedication. The fountains became a symbol of the village's renewed spirit. Mira's story was told for generations, reminding the villagers of the importance of preserving their heritage and the magic that lay within their world. And so, Rivendell thrived, its fountains forever shining as beacons of joy, wisdom, and courage, thanks to the young girl who believed in the power of forgotten magic. In a lush, green valley surrounded by majestic mountains and sparkling streams, there was a peaceful village named Rivermist. The villagers were known for their harmony with nature and their joyful spirits. Among them was a young woman named Ilara, who worked as a skilled cartographer. She had a special gift for drawing maps that captured not just the geography but the essence of the places she charted. One misty morning, while Alara was exploring a forgotten trail on the outskirts of the village, she stumbled upon an old, moss-covered chest buried beneath a tangle of ivy. The chest was intricately carved with symbols of stars and compass roses. Alara's heart raced with excitement as she carefully pried it open. Inside, she found an ornate compass that seemed to hum with a gentle, magical energy. The compass was unlike any Alara had ever seen. Its needle spun slowly, pointing not just north but to something elusive. An inscription on the back of the compass read, "Follow the compass to where hearts are true, and secrets of the world will be revealed to you." Curious and intrigued, Alara decided to embark on a quest to discover where the compass would lead. She packed a small satchel with essentials, some food, a warm cloak, and her trusty map-making tools. With the enchanted compass in hand, she set off towards the unknown. As Alara journeyed through forests and across meadows, the compass needle would occasionally spin and then settle, always pointing her towards an ever-changing direction. She followed its guidance through deep, whispering woods and over rolling hills until she reached the edge of a vast, shimmering lake. The compass led Alara to a small island in the middle of the lake, accessible only by a narrow stone bridge. On the island stood a grand, ancient tree with golden leaves that glistened in the sunlight. At the base of the tree was a large, intricately carved door, adorned with celestial motifs similar to those on the chest she had found. Alara approached the door and noticed a keyhole that matched the shape of the compass. With a deep breath, she placed the compass into the keyhole. The compass clicked into place, and the door creaked open, revealing a hidden chamber bathed in a warm, golden light. Inside the chamber was a beautiful, ornate mirror framed with twinkling gems. The mirror's surface was not a typical reflection but seemed to ripple like water. Alara approached it cautiously, and as she did, the mirror's surface began to show scenes of distant lands and fantastical creatures. A voice, gentle and melodious, spoke from the mirror. "Welcome, Alara. You have followed the compass with a heart full of curiosity and courage. The mirror reveals the heart's true desires and the wisdom one seeks." Alara looked into the mirror and saw not just landscapes but the faces of her friends and family. She saw visions of her village thriving and her maps guiding others to new and wondrous places. The mirror showed her that her true desire was not merely to uncover hidden places but to use her talents to enrich and uplift those around her. The voice continued, "The compass has guided you to this moment. Now, you have the power to share the secrets you have discovered with those who seek to explore the world and learn from its wonders." With a sense of clarity and purpose, Alara understood that the mirror's gift was not just knowledge but the ability to inspire and guide others. She thanked the mirror and left the chamber, taking with her the realization that her journey was as much about self-discovery as it was about exploration. Alara returned to Rivamist, where she began to use her newfound wisdom to create detailed and enchanted maps that revealed not only geographical features but also hidden wonders and magical places. Her maps became cherished treasures, guiding explorers and adventurers to places of beauty and discovery. The village of Rivermist flourished as a center of learning and wonder, and Alara's legacy lived on through the countless maps she created. The enchanted compass remained in a place of honor in her home, a reminder of the journey that had led her to understand the true essence of her heart's desires. And so, the tale of Alara and the enchanted compass became a beloved story, told to each new generation as a reminder that the greatest discoveries come from within and that true guidance comes from following one's heart with courage and integrity. Once upon a time, in a tranquil village named Leora, nestled at the edge of an enchanted forest, there was a special lantern known as the Lantern of Leora. This lantern was said to hold the power to light up the darkest paths and guide those who were lost or in need. Its light was warm and soothing, a beacon of hope and comfort. The lantern had been passed down through generations, but as the village grew, its light began to wane. The villagers were concerned, for they believed that if the lantern went out, their village would be lost in darkness forever. In the heart of the village lived a curious and brave young girl named Ava. Ava had always been fascinated by the lantern's magic and had often wondered why its light was fading. One day, she decided to embark on a quest to discover the truth and restore the lantern's brilliance. Ava visited the village elder, an old woman named Eloan, who had spent her life safeguarding the lantern's secrets. Eloan revealed that the lantern's light was fueled by three mystical gems: the Ember's Stone, the Moonstone, and the Starlight Gem. These gems had been lost over time, and their absence was the cause of the lantern's dimming light. To restore the lantern, Ava needed to find these three gems. Eloan handed Ava an ancient map and a small, magical compass that would guide her on her journey. With a determined heart, Ava set off towards the enchanted forest. The first destination on her map was the Cavern of Ember, where the Ember's Stone was said to be hidden. As Ava ventured into the cavern, she was met with intense heat and fiery obstacles. The cavern was guarded by a fierce, but wise fire serpent named Ignis. Ignis challenged Ava to prove her bravery. To do so, she had to navigate through a maze of flame and retrieve the Ember's Stone from a fiery altar. Using her quick thinking and courage, Ava carefully maneuvered through the flames, reaching the altar and claiming the Ember's Stone. Ignis, impressed by her bravery, allowed her to take the gem and blessed her with protection for her journey. Next, Ava followed the map to the Grove of Moonlight, where the Moonstone was hidden. The grove was a magical place bathed in soft, moonlit glow, and it was home to a wise old owl named Luna. Luna guarded the Moonstone and only revealed it to those who solved her riddle. Luna's riddle was, "I can be cracked, made, told, and played. What am I?" Ava pondered the riddle and realized the answer was a joke. Luna, delighted with Ava's cleverness, presented her with the Moonstone and wished her luck on her quest. The final destination was the Summit of Stars, where the Starlight Gem was said to be guarded by an ancient dragon named Astra. The summit was a steep and treacherous climb, but Ava persevered, reaching the dragon's lair at the top. Astra, though formidable, was wise and kind-hearted. She told Ava that the Starlight Gem could only be obtained by demonstrating selflessness. Astra explained that Ava needed to give up something dear to her in order to receive the gem. Ava thought of her beloved compass, which had guided her through her journey. With a heavy heart, she offered the compass to Astra. Moved by Ava's generosity, Astra granted her the Starlight Gem and returned the compass as a token of gratitude. With all three gems in hand, Ava returned to her village. She placed the Ember's Stone, Moonstone, and Starlight Gem into the lantern of Leora. The lantern's light flared to life with a brilliant, warm glow that illuminated the entire village and the surrounding forest. The villagers celebrated Ava's bravery and the lantern's restored brilliance. The light from the lantern of Leora shone brightly, guiding travelers, bringing warmth to the village, and filling their hearts with hope. Ava's adventure became a treasured story in Leora, a tale of courage, cleverness, and selflessness. The lantern of Leora continued to shine brightly, a symbol of hope and a beacon for all who sought its light. And so, the village of Leora thrived in the warm, magical glow of the lantern, ever grateful for the bravery of a young girl who had brought light back to their lives. Once upon a time, in a village nestled between lush forests and shimmering lakes, there was a legend of a magical lantern called the Lantern of Everlight. This lantern was said to have the power to grant any wish and bring light and joy to the darkest of places. For years, it had been lost, and the village had fallen into a time of uncertainty and gloom. In this village lived a brave and kind-hearted boy named Finn. Finn had always been fascinated by the tales of the Lantern of Everlight, and he believed that finding it could restore happiness to his village. One day, when a particularly fierce storm battered the village, causing widespread damage and despair, Finn decided it was time to embark on a quest to find the legendary lantern. The first challenge, the Enchanted Forest. Finn's journey began in the Enchanted Forest, a place known for its mysterious beauty and magical inhabitants. As he ventured deeper into the forest, he encountered a wise old deer with antlers that seemed to glow faintly in the dim light. To pass through the Enchanted Forest, the deer said in a voice like the rustling leaves, "You must solve this riddle. I am not alive, but I grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. I don't have a mouth, but water kills me. What am I?" Finn thought for a moment and answered, "Fire." The deer's eyes glowed with approval, and it stepped aside to reveal a hidden path through the forest. Follow this path to reach your next challenge, the deer instructed. The second challenge, the Crystal Lake. Following the deer's directions, Finn arrived at the Crystal Lake, a serene and reflective body of water surrounded by towering cliffs. The lake was guarded by a graceful swan with feathers that sparkled like diamonds. To cross the Crystal Lake, the swan said with a gentle voice, "You must answer this question. I am always hungry, I must always be fed. The finger I touch will soon turn red. What am I?" Finn pondered the question and replied, "Fire." The swan's eyes twinkled with delight, and it used its wings to create a bridge of shimmering light across the lake. Finn carefully crossed the lake, his heart full of hope and determination. The third challenge, the Cave of Whispers. On the other side of the lake, Finn discovered the Cave of Whispers, a dark and cavernous space filled with glowing crystals that cast eerie shadows on the walls. At the entrance of the cave was a grand, ancient door adorned with celestial symbols. A soft voice echoed through the cave, "To open this door and find the Lantern of Everlight, you must reveal your true heart. Share your deepest wish and prove that you seek it with pure intentions." Finn took a deep breath and spoke earnestly, "My deepest wish is to find the Lantern of Everlight and bring its light back to my village, so that we may restore our hope and joy." The cave's walls shimmered with a warm, golden light, and the grand door slowly creaked open, revealing the Lantern of Everlight glowing softly on a pedestal in the center of the cave. Its light was gentle yet powerful, casting a warm and comforting glow. The revelation, restoring light to the village. With the Lantern of Everlight in hand, Finn returned to his village. As he carried the lantern through the streets, its light began to spread, illuminating the once dark corners of the village. The lantern's light brought warmth and joy to the hearts of everyone who saw it. The damaged homes and fields started to heal, and the village was filled with a renewed sense of hope and happiness. The villagers gathered to celebrate the miraculous return of light and joy, and they thanked Finn for his bravery and determination. The tale of Finn's quest and the Lantern of Everlight became a cherished story in the village, a reminder of the power of courage, kindness, and the magic that can be found in the darkest of times. Under the warm glow of the lantern, the village thrived once more, forever grateful for the boy who had restored their light and their joy. Once upon a time, in a land far away, there was a small kingdom nestled between snow-capped mountains and a shimmering lake. This kingdom was known for its beautiful gardens, but the most magnificent of all was the Moonlit Garden. It was said that this garden only bloomed under the light of the full moon, and its flowers had the power to heal any ailment and bring peace to troubled hearts. The Moonlit Garden was the creation of Queen Seraphina, who was loved by all for her wisdom and kindness. She tended to the garden herself, ensuring that it remained a place of beauty and solace. However, as the years passed, Queen Seraphina grew old and frail. The kingdom began to worry about who would care for the garden when she was gone. In a nearby village, there lived a young girl named Elara. Elara had a special gift: she could speak to plants and understand their needs. She often helped her neighbors with their gardens, and her small cottage was always surrounded by vibrant, blooming flowers. When Elara heard about Queen Seraphina's plight, she felt a calling deep within her heart to help. One evening, as the full moon rose high in the sky, Elara made her way to the palace. She approached the gates and requested an audience with the queen. The guards, knowing of her reputation, allowed her in. Elara found Queen Seraphina resting in the moonlit garden, her face illuminated by the soft glow of the moon. "Your Majesty," Elara said with a bow, "I have come to offer my help. I wish to tend to the moonlit garden and ensure it continues to bloom and bring joy to our kingdom." Queen Seraphina looked at Elara with kind, knowing eyes. "I have heard of your gift, Elara. The garden has whispered your name to me. But tending the moonlit garden is no ordinary task. It requires more than just a green thumb, it requires a heart full of love and dedication." Elara nodded, her determination unwavering. "I understand, Your Majesty. I promise to care for the garden with all my heart." The queen smiled and handed Elara a small, silver key. "This key will unlock the heart of the garden. Use it wisely, and remember that the true magic of the moonlit garden lies in the love you give to it." From that day on, Elara became the guardian of the moonlit garden. She spent her days tending to the flowers, talking to them, and ensuring they were healthy and happy. Every full moon, the garden would bloom in all its glory, and people from all over the kingdom would come to marvel at its beauty and seek its healing powers. Elara's love and dedication brought new life to the garden. The flowers bloomed more vibrantly than ever before, and their healing properties grew stronger. The kingdom thrived, and Queen Seraphina, now at peace, spent her remaining days enjoying the garden she had created. Years passed, and Elara's bond with the moonlit garden deepened. She learned the secrets of each flower, understanding their unique needs and abilities. The garden, in turn, flourished under her care, becoming a place of unparalleled beauty and magic. One night, as Elara walked through the garden under the full moon, she heard a soft, melodious voice. It was the spirit of Queen Seraphina, who had become one with the garden she loved so dearly. "Elara," the spirit said, "you have done more than just care for the garden. You have made it your own, and in doing so, you have brought great joy to our kingdom. The moonlit garden will continue to bloom as long as there are hearts like yours to tend to it." Elara felt a warm, comforting presence envelop her. She knew that Queen Seraphina would always be with her, guiding her and watching over the garden. She vowed to continue her work, ensuring that the moonlit garden remained a place of healing and peace for generations to come. The story of Elara and the moonlit garden became a cherished legend in the kingdom. People would tell tales of the young girl who could speak to plants and the garden that bloomed under the light of the full moon. It became a symbol of love, dedication, and the magic that comes from caring for the world around us. And so, Elara and the moonlit garden lived on, bringing beauty and healing to all who visited. The kingdom flourished, united by the love and magic of the garden, and they all lived happily ever after. The Enchanted Lantern. Once upon a time, in a charming village surrounded by emerald forests and sparkling rivers, there was a legend of a magical lantern hidden deep in the woods. This lantern was said to grant one wish to anyone who found it, provided their heart was pure and their intentions noble. In this village lived a kind-hearted young girl named Elara. Elara loved to help others and often spent her days tending to the village gardens and assisting her neighbors. One day, as she was picking flowers by the river, she overheard an old storyteller recounting the tale of the enchanted lantern. Intrigued, Elara decided that she wanted to find the lantern and use its magic to help her village, which had recently fallen on hard times. The journey begins determined. Elara set out early the next morning, carrying only a small satchel with some bread, a flask of water, and a warm cloak. The path to the lantern was said to be fraught with challenges, so she needed to be prepared. As she ventured into the forest, the trees seemed to whisper secrets, and the air was filled with the sound of rustling leaves. After walking for a while, she encountered a wise old owl perched on a low branch. The first challenge, the riddle of the owl. The owl looked at Elara with its large, knowing eyes and spoke, "To proceed, you must answer my riddle. I have cities, but no houses. I have mountains, but no trees. I have water, but no fish. What am I?" Elara thought for a moment and then answered, "A map." The owl hooted in approval and flapped its wings, revealing a hidden path illuminated by a soft, golden light. Elara followed the path deeper into the forest. The second challenge, the mysterious stream. The path led Elara to a babbling stream with sparkling water. As she approached, she noticed that the stream was obstructed by floating stones that seemed to shift and move. On the opposite bank stood a small, delicate fairy. The fairy fluttered her wings and said, "To cross the stream, you must find the pattern in the stones. Only then will you safely reach the other side." Elara carefully observed the stones and noticed that they formed a pattern of twinkling lights when aligned in a specific order. She stepped on the stones according to the pattern and successfully crossed the stream. The third challenge, the Whispering Grove. On the other side of the stream, Elara entered a grove where the trees seemed to whisper secrets to one another. She was greeted by a friendly squirrel who asked her to solve the final riddle. "I can be cracked, made, told, and played. What am I?" Elara answered, "A joke." The squirrel nodded and scurried away, revealing a hidden entrance covered in vines. Elara pushed through the entrance and found herself in a serene glade. The enchanted lantern in the center of the glade stood, a beautiful, ornate lantern hanging from an ancient oak tree. The lantern was glowing softly, casting a warm, inviting light. Elara approached and gently lifted the lantern. As she held it, a gentle voice emanated from the lantern. "To use my magic, you must make a wish with a pure heart." Elara closed her eyes and made her wish. "I wish for my village to prosper and for the people to be happy and healthy." The lantern's light grew brighter, and a soft breeze carried the magic back to the village. As Elara made her way home, she could see the signs of change. The fields were lush and green, the river flowed abundantly, and the village was bustling with renewed energy and joy. The return home. When Elara returned, the villagers greeted her with joy and gratitude. The village was thriving once more, and the magic of the enchanted lantern had brought prosperity and happiness to everyone. Elara's kindness and bravery were celebrated, and the tale of her journey was passed down through generations. The enchanted lantern became a symbol of hope and the power of selfless wishes. And so, Elara's village continued to flourish, forever touched by the magic of the enchanted lantern in the heart of a young girl who wished for the happiness of others. Once upon a time, in a village surrounded by ancient forests and sparkling streams, there was a majestic willow tree known as the Whispering Willow. This tree was rumored to have magical powers, and its branches seemed to whisper secrets to those who listened closely. The villagers believed that the tree held the key to great wonders, but only those with pure intentions could uncover its magic. In this village lived a kind-hearted girl named Mia. Mia was known for her generous spirit and love for animals. She often spent her days helping her neighbors and caring for the creatures in the forest. Despite her kindness, Mia felt that something was missing from her life. She longed for a grand adventure that would reveal a deeper purpose. One sunny afternoon, Mia decided to visit the Whispering Willow, hoping to find some answers. She approached the grand tree, its branches swaying gently in the breeze. As she sat beneath its expansive canopy, she heard the soft murmur of the leaves, as if the tree was whispering to her. "Mia," the tree seemed to say, "you seek an adventure that will lead you to your true purpose. Listen closely, and you shall find it." Encouraged, Mia pressed her ear against the tree's trunk and closed her eyes. The whispers grew clearer, guiding her to a hidden glen deep within the forest. The glen was said to be where the magic of the Whispering Willow was strongest. Following the tree's guidance, Mia made her way through the forest. Along the path, she encountered various woodland creatures who seemed to nod in approval as she passed. Birds sang cheerful songs, and even the flowers seemed to bloom more brightly in her presence. After a long walk, Mia reached the glen. It was a breathtaking sight. Radiant flowers, glowing in shades of blue and purple, surrounded a small, crystal-clear pond. At the center of the pond floated a delicate, golden locket, its surface shimmering like the sun. As Mia reached out to retrieve the locket, a gentle voice spoke from behind her. "Only someone with a pure heart can open the locket," said the voice. Mia turned to see a graceful fairy with wings like gossamer, her eyes sparkling with kindness. "I am Elowen, the guardian of the locket," the fairy continued. "This locket holds a great power that can only be unlocked by a true-hearted person." Mia looked at the locket with curiosity and a hint of apprehension. "What is the power of this locket?" Elowen smiled. "The locket holds the essence of the forest's magic. It can grant a wish to the one who finds it, but only if the wish is made with selflessness and love." With a deep breath, Mia carefully opened the locket. Inside, there was a small, glowing crystal. Elowen explained that the crystal contained the forest's pure magic, and by holding it, Mia could make her wish. Mia thought about her wish carefully. She wanted to help the forest and its creatures, but she also wanted to bring something meaningful to her village. Finally, she closed her eyes and made her wish. "I wish for the forest and village to thrive together, with harmony and prosperity for all." The moment she finished her wish, the crystal began to glow brightly, and a gentle breeze swept through the glen. Elowen's wings fluttered in delight. "Your wish is pure and kind." The magic of the locket will ensure that the forest and the village grow together in harmony. Mia returned to her village with a sense of fulfillment and joy. As she arrived, she noticed a remarkable change. The once quiet forest was now vibrant and full of life. The village, too, had flourished, with lush gardens and happy animals. The villagers marveled at the transformation and were filled with gratitude for Mia's selflessness. From that day on, Mia's village became known for its harmony with the forest. The Whispering Willow continued to watch over them, and its whispers became a source of inspiration and guidance. Mia's wish had brought prosperity and peace to both the village and the forest, and she found the grand adventure she had always yearned for, one that made a lasting difference in the world around her. And so, Mia lived a life full of adventure and purpose, forever connected to the magic of the Whispering Willow. Her story was told for generations as a reminder that true magic comes from the heart and the desire to help others. The end.